It's 6:30. Let's open our meeting for Tuesday, November 23rd. I believe this meeting is being recorded for broadcast on Rutland Cable TV. So, our first agenda item is our minutes from the last meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second. I didn't have any corrections.
I have something for discussion. On the last page, I believe it is next to the last, it mentions Leah, but there's no, I didn't see any documentation as to who she is.
Probably white.
It is on the second page, the last page, sorry. And it's, let me just sort of,
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines down. I mean, I think she has value.
Oh, so we should put Leah Whiteman.
yeah.
Yeah.
Select board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last one, I would say.
Yep, just identify that.
Right.
The only question that I had was under the Walker A&Rs on the first page was a 0 foot of frontage rather than the 125. Shouldn't that have been 50 feet of frontage? Unless that's coming up in discussion this afternoon.
Say that again?
Right in the paragraph, William and Janine Walker, one I read earlier, Maple Ave.
Yep.
6th or 7th line down, as such, the applicant went before the Board of Appeals in August 2021, granted a variance that allowed for 0 foot of frontage.
Yeah, that zero's correct.
That is correct.
Yeah,
correct.
I
yeah.
just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was odd to me too, but that's what they
When we
got.
okay, and I know we'll go through that again. And I just wanna make sure that it wasn't the 50 foot versus the 125.
All right, with amendments.
Second, I agreed with that.
Is there anything further in the minutes?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 2, Sassawanna Road A&R.
I had a question on this, Norm.
Yeah,
Where does, on Brintnal and Sassawanna is the cut between R40 and R60? Is it the north side of, or
this
this?
side is our board.
Okay, this is R60 up here, and on the same on your, on
Right.
Brintnal.
I'm in the R40.
You are, everybody else is R60 on their side. Okay, I wasn't sure about that. I didn't know if they did it down from the road, so the properties were in R40, but okay. So this is all R4. Oh, it says right there, I missed it. I didn't see that. Okay. Okay, I'm good.
So the
Yeah.
only thing I had a problem with this is this, right here, is the locust,
Yeah,
and the arrow for north is wrong.
You are correct, because north is
On the side of where it says Sassawanna, that's heading north.
I don't see a,
Oh,
Oh, there, on your
the-
main map.
On the main map,
Yeah.
well, it's got the north going directly
yeah.
And there's the north,
perpendicular to.
right there, but that's wrong.
So you know, the issue there is that the locust map is not the same orientation as the detail
Oh.
map.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the point
Right.
is
yeah,
made that,
let's turn it around.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
So that's the only thing, and I don't know if it's worthy
And
or,
Sassawanna is not spelled right on locus either. It's missing an N. There's 2 N's, 1 N.
I don't know if it's supposed to be 1 or 2.
And Pommogussett,
Two.
isn't it Pommogussett, not August? It's
It was A back in the day, because it used to be A at this end of the street, and it was O.
Is that it?
Yeah, I lived on it, yeah. I always
'Cause
spelled it with an A.
My
always.
deed says
And
O.
then at some point, this street sign changed 20 or 30 years ago, but when I lived there,
It was an A?
it was an A at this end and an O at the north end.
Oh, yeah, because I wonder why Roger in my on my little
Now,
prescription thing says A, and I go, it's changed. He goes, no, it isn't. I'm not
It
arguing with
depends on who you, yeah, it just depends on who you talk to.
I'm not arguing.
Everything I see now within the town is typically all.
That's fine, I'm not gonna argue.
I think it will go either way, I don't think it matters.
I should,
Personally, I have no problem with it and everything else, and I'll make a motion to endorse the plan of Ernie Fields over to Mr. Elbag.
the only thing, Dick, I had, and I don't know if this is the building inspector or if it's us, is because Sassawanna is a scenic
Road.
road, there's a wall on it. Now, I don't think Mark, if he's here, will go through my, because, are you intending to do anything with that wall on that lot B1?
No,
Okay,
no.
I just wanted to make sure, because if it was, you gotta
No.
replicate whatever you move, so that was
You
my
have to
only
have a
concern.
hearing.
Have to have a hearing, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think there's enough existing openings.
Oh, yeah, you got plenty of room to get in there. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. I didn't know if we need to make a note
Sorry,
or.
I thought you meant the rear.
No, no,
Even the
there's,
front wall.
there's one right here on the front wall on the road.
Yep.
So that's a scenic road.
Yeah,
So you got, if you're coming in over here for a driveway, it's a moot point.
yeah. And there's actually, where it shows that wall, I think there's already an opening. Is that the west side or the east side?
That would be
Can you
the
open-
west side.
Do you mind opening that up?
Sure.
No. Yeah, it's the west side.
This
Yeah.
one has nothing here, but over here.
Yeah, this is actually already open right here.
Oh,
Yes, it's a driveway into where the house.
That was like an old barway to get to the back of the barn.
Where was the old house?
The old house was up in here, and then there was a barn up in here, and then there was an old barway down in here. There was actually an old Cadillac parked down in here. So we did kind of
Kinda at the bottom
reestablish.
of the hill.
Yeah, we did.
Almost at the bottom of the
Yeah,
hill.
we did kind of reestablish that barway. That's
Okay.
all we've done. We're not touching any.
all right, I'm fine. I just,
Yeah.
good enough for me.
I thought you meant the back, just because
No,
the
this-
old deeds, the lines don't quite
As long
match
as,
up with the walls.
I guess I have one question if I could. So you have physical access to both lots directly off of Sassawanna?
Yes. Yep.
okay. All right.
So I heard a motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, boss, keep going. We need to be out of here.
Wouldn't bother me at all.
I guess you want to sign this now or later?
Yeah, I guess we can sign it. Today's the 23rd, right?
Just throw down my prescription signature.
No, we have a question from an applicant.
All right, there you go.
I guess not.
Oh, on the,
Rob had his hand up. He's aware that it starts at 6:45, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay, he took his hand down, never mind.
so. Yeah.
Oh,
this next one, oh, we're getting there. We wanna skip for, or you just, is there anything little? Because there's a lot of updates I saw coming in
Yeah.
for the, I don't think we'll get through those in 5 minutes. We could do 10, the accessory dwelling past.
Thanks to a certain individual that had everything ready.
Yeah,
Um,
I promise, Dave, next time I'll rough Randy up so you can do your presentation. I think that would have helped. I do.
I think it's probably, something needs to be requested by the entity bringing the article. At the time, the message wasn't already received.
You got the end.
Yep. So we have 5 minutes before our next hearing, so yeah, why don't we skip to number 10?
You want it back over there?
Item 10. So, updates on that?
Passed by, how many votes, one vote?
Yes.
So, and it would pass with a modification, to strike the detached section. So, the only thing that's allowable by special permit now is, in an existing structure with a modification, if it's dry. If it's dry, it is. Or by an attachment to an existing structure, so that's what's passed. You just have to wait for the Attorney General's office to ratify it, and then it goes into effect retroactively to the date of town meeting's approval. We'll see now if the interest that we got before this went into effect comes to bear, with people actually wanting to go forward on these projects. We are glad to help folks, and we're ready to go. And we hope that this will be of benefit to the community to provide this type of housing opportunity.
And the building inspector knows that if it comes before him, he's gotta go talk to you because of a special permit issue, correct? Or he will, I guess, maybe.
Yes, I haven't had a chance to give an update on this. It was a very busy week this last week, but
Yep. This is a short week too,
but we
so.
tend to communicate on a regular basis, so I'll give him a brief to let him know whatever the status of this is.
Did that change the septic and water hookup requirements,
This
Being
is just a
attached.
zoning matter.
depending on what?
This is just a zoning matter.
Okay.
This is not in the Board of Health bylaw. So,
There wasn't anything in there. I just was just curious if there was anything in there. You would just have to, amend a septic system to appease the amount of bedrooms or.
well, that's right, it has the standard language, and all necessary permits have to be obtained, one
Right.
of which would be the Board of Health.
Yeah.
So we would have that conversation early on in the process, just to let people know of that possibility, so that they can talk to the Board of Health agent and understand what, if anything, they may need to do.
Right, okay.
Cause if I remember right, Dave, the bylaw didn't give square footage, it said a maximum of 40% of the existing building structure.
If it's by way of an attachment in
Yes.
addition to an existing structure, that's correct.
Okay.
So I appreciate the planning board's help and the bylaw subcommittees as well, and also the regional planning commission. And the citizens who express interest in it, so.
Okay, we still have a couple of minutes. Let's get back to number 8, which is the Bear Hill 2 site inspection.
Is that in our email?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in the packet.
in the packet.
Oh, this is the money change for the new Surrey bond, right?
No,
No.
Is it Bear Hill, you said Bear Hill, not Bear Hill?
yep, Bear Hill 2 site inspection.
Oh, there's a Surrey budget one in there too.
On November 17th is the date of the site inspection.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, there it is.
So it still
Yeah, I
needs
saw
a-
that he needs a little bit of,
Still got a camera inspection
hasn't got that to.
submitted to Joe Buckley yet?
Yeah, and looks like they need to do a little cleanup work on these catch basins.
Yeah, well.
That's fallen down.
Mhm. And I don't know if that rock is sufficient. or
I don't think
those
that
to-
covers it. I think you're supposed to have a silt
Yeah,
around that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's what he's
Building a dam doesn't cut it.
Mhm.
Is that something we need to send a letter to Clea about? Or ask him to,
Well, the camera inspection is not immediate.
yeah,
The inserts in the catch basins, yeah, I think it probably should be.
Say again?
The inserts in the catch basins,
Yeah.
I think that should be before everything freezes up and
Yeah, definitely.
things start running. So just a reminder to Clea
Sure,
about this particular item.
I can do that. However, I will just point out to the board that Quinn is more likely these days to add emphasis to certain items in the body of the email to the applicant.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and, you know, it is, but,
Should, maybe we,
But we
should we
should send-
reference, no,
but this is at
November?
least, this is at least the second report that needs to be on.
so you want it to come from the planning board as well as
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
consulting
Yeah.
engineer, okay.
I guess reference November 17th, get it done.
Or he may have done it.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a while. It's been a week or two, but
Yeah, just a friendly reminder about the email sent on the 17th, we make sure it was
Yeah.
addressed.
and then there was another attachment, Norm, this surety bond for Bear
Yeah.
Hill 2. Which I didn't have.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Let's hold off on that.
Okay.
We're at, so, yeah. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program here.
All right, what's the next one?
Okay, this is a public hearing on a petition to create a two-lot common driveway at 138 Kenwood Drive. So we'll open the hearing. Is there anyone here to present? You have the floor. Sure.
So my name's Tom Fancy with Sherman Frederick, and Rob McNeil is online as well. He's the engineer on the land surveyor. And this is the one we had the A&R a few weeks back. And we went with the A&R scenario. It was just simple, cost-effective for the client. There was nothing that I saw in the
Yeah, that's good.
regulations
We don't need to open that one.
that precluded us from, you know, creating that A&R, the frontage, and then this is the best means of access without getting involved with the wetlands and crossings. So that's the basic approach we took.
So,
So it's a common drive to access these two lots.
see, I didn't have any issue with this one. The only,
And
Still-
then this is,
it gets most of its frontage from Kenwood Drive, not Kenwood Court.
yeah.
I mean, we could've went through like the rear lot subdivision, but, there was nothing that said we couldn't, you know, do what we did here. You know, there's no laws that say you have to access through your frontage all the way to your house. So,
Illusionary frontage is actually part of A&R. What do we call that?
But he doesn't have.
well, it probably
This is
should
on
have been,
Kenwood Drive, it's on Kenwood Court.
it probably should have been in the regulations that you have to access it through its frontage.
Okay.
Like state law, you can,
Actually, there's a case law that overrides that.
Well, you have to be able to
Yes.
right, and
access
we.
it. That doesn't mean you have to actually access it.
Right, so
Okay.
we took this approach, the best cost effective, it avoids going near wetlands and,
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because it's the word I'm looking for, precedent I don't want to set, because we've sort of told all the builders that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think we worded it, as I recall that this is, each lot is at a different angle, but it's not going around a corner.
Well,
If I'm looking at this correctly, I'm looking at this thing, this is
Yeah.
what happened.
I guess I'd have been a lot easier if this one was in the state lot and the entry for this one was down here, and then it was a common driveway coming in.
well, we may have taken that approach, but there was nothing in the laws that said we couldn't, so this is the easiest, cost-effective way.
Mr. Chair, I actually asked the applicant's engineer to provide information relative to the frontage question. He submitted information in the packet. in the supplemental, and he's also here tonight. If you could just elaborate on why this is why the frontage is okay here, because it means why the requirement for the common driveway is met, that there was some analysis of the frontage access and why that's not feasible.
Okay, I'm good. So I read it.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and David. So, Rob McNeil Engineering. We've been working with Mr. Tackler, who actually grew up on this property. He is divesting the last piece of family property along. We first did Walnut Street and then Kenwood Drive, and this is the last parcel that was from the original homestead on Kenwood Court. So, as you probably know, the stream that comes out of Tackle Pond is subject to not just the Wetlands Protection Act, but also the Watershed Protection Act as it drains to the Quabbin Reservoir system. So when we evaluated this property initially with our wetland consultant, Glenn Kravosky at EBT Environmental, who also has done representative work for the town of Rutland, as well as Dave Bennett, the attorney representing our client over at Bennett and Forts. It was determined that the wetland regulations look to have you take a three-pronged approach. The first is to avoid any wetland impacts, which also requires you to exhaust the options to get to the property through other means rather than impacting the wetland resources. So in that case, the other means turns into, in this case, a request for a common driveway. And I would say that there's two real benefits to that. Actually three, but if you follow along with the planning board requirements in Article 4, Section 15F2, the one that really sticks out to me is safety. If we're putting three driveways for three individual residential lots off of Kenwood Court, it's relatively limited number of homes up there. It's also it can be a pretty busy intersection at certain times of year, Kenwood Drive and Kenwood Court. And there's a combination of some pretty, there's some pretty good curves through there. So limiting the number of driveways, the egress points is helpful for safety as a driver, minimizes their decision-making points, but also limiting driveway locations near the intersection go a long way to ensure traffic safety for any impacts from new development. So with that in mind, locating the driveway access to the furthest west we could, which is further up Kenwood Court, made a lot of sense. And that's ultimately how the lots, they had a number of different iterations as we looked at these properties. And clearly they're oversized, mostly to meet the watershed protection requirements, because I think they're well above the requirements for zoning. And so again, we're following along with the requirements of the Wetland Protection Act and Watershed Protection Act to first avoid impacts to those sensitive areas. Secondly, if we can't avoid that, we would have to put in a proposal that would minimize impacts to the wetlands. And again, the third would be to mitigate. So clearly, to meet the zoning requirements for frontage, we're chasing the lot 9 down around the corner. And in doing so, as it was pointed out, you're basically pulling frontage, or you're using frontage on a different named street for that lot. But I just remind the board that the lot itself, prior to the A&R process, was actually a single lot combined together that was located on Kenwood Court, even with the frontage on Kenwood Drive in Walnut. So that's kind of the thought behind it. As Tom pointed out, we certainly could have gone the route of an estate lot, but we felt this was based on guidance from both our wetland consultant and Attorney Bennett, that has been down this road before with the town. That was the way we selected to move forward. I'll point out some of the details on this as well. We're actually able to minimize the total square footage of impervious area by obviously combining the driveways into a common driveway, but we also recognized both for ease of access and if in the case of emergency access, we actually provided a wider than required driveway to be able to bring traffic down, bring the residential traffic down that's expected. And what that looks like on the details for the common driveway site plan, it's a proposed 475-foot long, 14-foot wide. I believe the regulation calls for 12-foot wide. But I did lay out in a couple letters, as David pointed out, in October 31st letter, it calls out how specifically the layout meets the requirements of Article 4, Section 15, F2, and the subsequent letter from this weekend provides a little bit more background on the Watershed and Wetlands Protection Act laws as far as minimizing the number of driveway egresses, particularly in the vicinity of a roadway intersection, and avoiding wetland impacts, and provided a couple sketches to go along with that to help indicate where those wetland resources are. But I'm happy to try to answer any questions any of the board members may have.
Sold me.
Do you have, is the addresses for lot 8 and lot 9, are they like an A and a B, or will they have separate, be 9 and 11 Kenwood Court? Do we
I
know
believe
that?
those are set. I believe
Is that
those
by
are
the
set by the
fire
fire
department?
department.
All right.
I think those are set
That's
up
what
by,
I thought they'd do.
by
They've got to have a sign down here too, if I remember right from
At the bottom, and then maybe even at the where it's split. And this could be up to them. I just want to make sure that if it's not our purview, that's fine. I'm sure the fire chief will get in on that. So when the ambulance has got to get somewhere, they know which house is which.
Sure.
I think
Yep,
David.
part of the requirement is listed in the notes on the common driveway site plan, which specifically talks about the emergency access signage that's in the bylaw.
Yeah. Up there, yeah. I'm fine. Sold me.
Square feet.
The safety and the access is where I'm good. 'Cause that gives Seth one less problem trying to access here and go all the way around, as opposed to coming out watersheds. Gets it out of the watershed area. That's it for me. I'm good.
Where are we going to rebuild the hayfields?
There you go.
Where you do
Well, I
have
will say, I know someone had brought that up at a previous meeting. I'm not sure if you have the lot division plan in front of you.
we do, yeah.
Right now, the corner of Kenwood and Walnut, as an aside, that lot remains not constructed. That portion in the front there that has been historically used for corn, I believe is going to continue to be used agriculturally, and there was some method to the lot layouts for the A&Rs on Walnut Street as well to try to keep the river on a single lot, so that for interested parties that were for conservation purposes to be able to keep the pond and the river in a state that would be under probably single ownership or maybe two different ownerships, but to be able to work with anyone interested in future conservation restrictions or anything like that. Just to give you a heads up of like how things were laid out.
Yeah, that's nice to hear, yeah. And then so lot 9 will own the majority of what you were talking about with the cornfields down on Walnut Street.
Yeah.
That's right.
That 15 acres.
Yep.
I don't have any other problems. No more questions.
The only question I had, Norm, is on this homeowners agreement.
Yep.
Do we gotta run that by our legal and have them take a look at it, cause we have in the past? Or is it?
Or is it this,
It,
similar?
it looks like, I read it over, it looks basically what we're signing, right along. The most important part is that basically it guarantees, number one, the concept of
Who pays for what?
joint
Yeah.
responsibility for, maintaining it, and that it holds the town of Rutland totally non-responsible for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Bennett, he said he did some in Rutland already.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same format.
I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
What is the distance from the diagram? I couldn't tell. What's the distance between the boundary, the common boundary, the stone wall? I'm a butter of that. I live on number 3 Kenwood Court. My son lives on number 1 Kenwood Court. The distance of that right-of-way going through the property, what's the distance between the stone wall and the roadway?
Yeah,
There's supposed to be a buffer there?
the common drive is 50 feet wide. I mean, the easement access, and the actual pavement is 14 feet wide, and it's tucked as far away.
Yeah, that's
from
what I'm
the
saying
stone
is,
wall.
from the stone wall
So
to
it might
the
be
common boundary.
30
How
30
many,
feet or so,
how much?
30 feet maybe.
30 feet to the driveway?
Roughly.
That's the driveway,
Yeah,
not to the
just
edge of
a-
the driveway.
To
It's
mention
50
here,
feet.
the idea is to try to maintain as much of the existing vegetation along the
Yeah,
wall as
the
possible.
distance,
There to there is 50
distance
feet.
right there in that wide area, what's the distance between there?
Right, so you got the
About
whole width.
30 feet here, right?
You get the whole width is 50, and then it's a 14-foot driveway, and then you got, I don't know, Rob, you got a couple feet on the side there, or?
Yeah,
It's-
there's a shoulder on the edge of the driveway to shed the water, shed the water down along the edge of the driveway. So again, we're gonna try to, the plan was done specifically to try to maintain as much of the existing vegetation along the wall. Plus, it's also, as you know, the grade slopes down the hill. So it's sort of,
So if I was guessing, it's about 34 feet from the
it's
wall
about
to
30,
the.
Okay.
35, 36 feet.
Oh, okay.
Also, my other question is this the definitive plan that only 3 lots can be on this parcel? Because
That's,
there's gonna be a large,
I mean, that's all we're,
Yeah, based on the wetland
I'm
restrictions.
worried that someone's gonna go in there and subdivide that back property.
They don't have the frontage.
On lot 9?
Well,
if you turn it
No,
into
I'm going by what,
a road, and
I
the
would
other
say
subdivision in the
that
back.
this is all subject to the Watershed Protection Act, and if you pull up the site plan that was submitted, I can show you on there where the actual
From the A&R, it was already said that this couldn't be further subdivided.
the A&R doesn't have the, it doesn't have the Wetland Protection Act, or the watershed protection zones listed on there. But, I did provide a plan to, David, yesterday that, was submitted
So you
via
have that in
email.
supplemental. You have that electronically, but in the supplemental
Yeah,
package, you
my
have that.
concern is that that back property is gonna get subdivided into probably about 2 or 3 more house lots.
Yeah, that's not the case. The back lot is not gonna be able to be subdivided into anything further. It's very, very steep property in the back, if you know that area. And, there's, as someone pointed out, I'm not sure who it was, that said there's not adequate frontage to do that.
My concern is that a developer is gonna buy that back property, that lot, number 9, whatever it is. And, even though, the lots are gonna be steep, they can
Yeah.
subdivide that more. That's
Well-
what they've done with that other property, that,
That,
Tackler's property.
my question, Dave, for that is once we grant a special permit for a common driveway for that easement, can that be null and voided and turned into a subdivision access for lot 9?
First off, it's a site plan review for a 2-lot common driveway, and this is the project that's before the board this time. I haven't done any research to understand any of the possible combinations, so I really don't know how to answer that at this point.
The roadway itself would have to be enlarged, but it still have a 50-foot wide right of way, but that's,
Yes, the answer is.
it's a lot of,
We cannot make guarantees
Yeah.
one way or another on
Yeah.
something like that, but
Yeah,
that's in the future.
Conservation Commission, I went to the Conservation hearing on that too, and they said the same thing. They didn't think so, but they.
Yeah, we can know, absolutely.
Sure.
But there was no concrete yes or no.
Right.
I would just simply offer to the board that if it could have been done, the client would have instructed us, and did instruct us to get, to maximize the number of lots in there. So that's what we were able to get based on the restrictions based on the
between the
wetlands.
two parties should not be subdivided anymore.
There's only one party, it's only lot number 9.
Well, the thing that I've got that I won't say solidifies it, but you got a homeowner's agreement that's being recorded as part of the deed for lot 8 and 9. So you'd have to undo all that, I would think. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But I think you'd have to undo all of that to start from scratch. I don't know how easy a process that's gonna be.
And or increase it. It would have been up to the original owner and the person that bought that lot to put in there,
I
shall
don't
not
think
be
these lots
further
are sold, well, they're
subdivided.
sold to
Yeah, we can't
builder,
undo
right?
that.
We can't.
Yeah, that's one thing we
It's
can't.
not sold yet, what are you saying?
Right, that's what I'm, so in the deed to lot 9, can it be put in the deed that it can't be subdivided? The deed
Further
hasn't been written yet.
subdivided.
Right.
We cannot direct that.
Yeah.
No, we can't.
No.
The only thing is, like I said, is the easement deed, which would possibly, where the road right now references a common driveway homeowners agreement, which is way different than putting a road in. So I think to undo that, I don't, again, not being a lawyer, I don't know how you do that, but it sounds to me like it's pretty, I feel it's
a
a,
provision to put another driveway into that back lot.
Well, they'd have to come before to put a common driveway now for 3 houses, which is a different scenario.
That's not allowed in the bylaw.
I don't think,
This is one of the worksheets we had that the wetlands, the Rivers Protection Act kind of came way into here.
Right.
So, no, I don't think anyone would, in their right mind, would build a roadway that, with drainage and all that stuff to,
Yeah, it's pretty steep right here, you see the
I
grade
mean,
lines, yeah.
to get what?
Yeah.
Maybe another house if they crammed it in there, but, it doesn't seem
No,
feasible.
I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
being-
we had,
I'm
we
looking
had-
ahead that there's people out there that will try to,
we
you
had
know, buy that.
probably, I don't know,
You know.
a half, probably a dozen different renditions of how we were gonna divide it.
Mhm.
This seemed the most cost-effective construction, safety, I know what you're talking about, like we did a division that, and they
Yeah, down-
divided it, and we were
Right,
kinda,
I mean, originally it was for
I
6
was-
house lots, and now there's like
I was
11 down
kinda
there now.
shocked
All right.
that they divided it. I don't know how, but I'm not.
The driveways look like ski ramps going down to the road.
Yeah. I think ours were nicer, you know.
I guess I'm okay with this, cause if somebody came back and bought lot 9 and wanna undo this, they'd have to come back before us or the board. And I personally would ask at that point for legal to get involved, since we already have a homeowner's agreement on it, and with an easement deed already, if you wanna say solidified. So,
Yeah, they could come back
they could, yeah.
and apply for a common driveway for 3 lots.
Yeah, that's a special permit, man.
That's a special permit.
Yeah. That's about the only thing I can say. I mean,
Would the planning board have jurisdiction over that filing?
special permits, definitely the planning board. We have authority over that.
Mm.
And latitude too.
But that's the maximum.
Yeah, you can't go above 3. This town, our bylaw only allows a maximum of 3 house lots off a common driveway.
The other thing, even if we got a septic here and a house
Houses,
here,
yeah.
they got,
Yeah.
where are they gonna go?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that would be-
They'd have
Can't
to
really
go
drive
through it.
over the septic.
Right. I don't, it's not feasible.
Okay, I'm good with this.
And to just verify, I think your original question was there is not any, just to make sure I understood it, from where your property is, that stone wall, the 30 feet is adequate to the driveway, right? Is that was your question?
Yes,
And you
yeah,
got that answered?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, is there any further questions, comments from here or from the public? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion to close the board hearing on, let's say which one? The common driveway on Kenwood Road, Kenwood Court.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to grant site plan approval?
I motion to grant site plan approval for the common driveway, for 2 common driveway on Kenwood Court.
Could I just ask for clarification? You're talking about 1 common driveway to serve 2 lots?
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
1 common driveway to serve 2 lots, 2 common driveways. What am I doing? Yeah, you can build that common driveway for those extra houses.
Yeah.
Second that.
Is there any discussion? The only thing I think it is all sort of, is the homeowners agreement. Does anybody see a real necessity to send it out for a legal review? The only thing is that has to be in place, I believe, before occupancy. So it doesn't have to be here right now.
Have we always done it in the past?
No, I don't.
Not always,
It's-
because some of
especially-
George's-
Especially lately,
Yeah,
because we've been getting what seems to be just duplicates of.
they're just boilerplates of the same
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to send it to KP, it's my opinion. I looked this over, and like you said, Norm, I like the paragraph, shall have no responsibility
Oh,
for
yeah.
the town of
Yeah,
Rutland.
yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, anything further? Then, those in favor?
Aye.
Rob, you did an excellent presentation to sell me, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Same to you.
Have a great night.
Check.
All right, thank you. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
See you.
That's done, that's done.
I got a call my little buddy, who's been looking for a large piece of property and say, head over to Kenwood Court and take a look.
Right under 61A.
Perfect place for swimming pool.
Well, he's in Maria, I can't remember Maria's last name, at the end of 68 before it goes into Hubbardson. She built that little subdivision up there,
Yeah.
and an acre and a half ain't cutting it for him. He needs something bigger, so.
Okay, next we have
Have a good night. Good buddy.
continuation of the public hearing for car wash at 13 Pommogussett Road. And, I don't know, Dave, can you put things in perspective here at this point?
Well, the matter was open on the 9th. The applicant was not in attendance at that meeting. The board had a very basic discussion of the application. The board decided it wanted to have a site visit. The site visit happened last Saturday. There was discussion, about questions and answers regarding the site, how it would work. The board walked the site. The board understood that there is a proposed 48 by 42 foot structure to be attached to the existing structure for a car wash for 2 days. The board understood some of the operating characteristics of it in terms of hours of operation, how vehicles would access it, the number of vehicles that could be queued up on site, that there's an escape lane. The board discussed some of the drainage issues, parking issues, and related. The board did have some additional questions and wanted to pick those up at tonight's continued hearing. The applicants are here to make a presentation or describe to the public who wasn't the benefit of that site visit what this proposal is about, if you'd like. I'll get it, the plan.
I guess we could have, do a presentation for the public. Just a general one, basically.
Yeah, I suppose, like I say, I'm just not quite sure where I'm thinking we need to go with this.
Well, I know we needed some of these plans updated, because it was missing, like, the drainage pipe. That needed to be added. We needed to get the documentation for the updated special permit application. That, we need to get that, and then we needed with that some type of letter from I guess that's the Diocese of Springfield?
Worcester, yeah.
Oh, Worcester, okay.
I've already talked
We've
to
retained
Father
that.
Boland about that. He's good with this. What we're gonna do, we're working back and forth,
Okay,
because of, Devereaux having their training center there in their back garage. They generate a lot of cars. So I've talked with Father Boland, and I says, look, we're gonna, take care of the back parking lot and put in a set of stairs so nobody has to go out on the street. Set up concrete stairs down to the driveway. And he's good with that. He said, this is great, that's gonna save the parish money, and during the week when those cars are there, it's not a problem. And, yeah, he's okay with us infringing a little bit. I think it's 4 to 6 feet
We're gonna plow
on a banking that is a riprap wall that I cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good with that.
The biggest thing to me is we have got to have written documentation.
Oh, I'll get it from them, we're working on it.
Written official, and
yeah.
I'm not even quite sure what form
yeah, that's what I was
that
thinking.
needs to be.
Yeah,
Uh,
whether it's an easement or, I don't know how you'd word it.
Yeah.
Dave, is there some legal
and-
document you could help?
Then I had a problem when I got home. I thought about
Your car was dirty.
that too. But no, when you put a set of stairs in there, do you have to put a ramp because of ADA?
Oh, wow.
And that's why I'm thinking, get rid of the stairs and put your driveway around, which will be plowed for people to walk it.
Whatever we gotta do.
Yeah,
I wasn't even
happen.
thinking about
It's
ADA.
gonna happen.
Yeah,
I mean-
and that's one
And
thing,
that's
you know,
that's
I
a
wish
slow
I.
grade there that would, yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe that is, the solution is around that property.
But, I mean, Scotty put stairs in off Memorial Field, and it
Yeah.
wasn't an ADA problem.
Oh.
Ah!
Did
What
Lenny
did
put
those
that
just
in?
get-
When
Did
we
Lenny
walked
put
that,
that
just
say
happened?
anymore.
you remember walking that at the end of the year down over to the market?
Marketplace, yeah. Yeah,
Holy Toledo.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. So anyways, that's just something I wish the heck I thought of sooner, but
Yeah.
We're
unfortunately.
talking
Yeah, that
about
we-
6
something
to
we should've
8
talked
cars
about.
over there
Yeah.
at any given day during the week.
Yeah.
maybe
But,
we could cut that corner and where Century Oil sign is, cut that corner.
exactly, and
And-
that's the other thing
Yeah.
I said, if they didn't wanna put a driveway in, that could be the so-called ramp is right there because there is no pitch to it to speak of.
Right.
Very little,
Okay,
so,
yeah, something we can work with.
yeah.
The other thing that I thought of too was you might have to put in handicap parking, so, which would take like 2.
Well, we can put those in the upper lot,
Right,
okay, in the church parking lot, because I'm going to pay something to the church for us using that lot during the week when they don't have any traffic.
mm-hmm,
So yes, we could do that. Yeah, we
I-
could
Sure, we could put
designate,
2 designated
we could
parks
designate
down.
yeah, I'm just
Designated
saying I might
outside
have
lots.
to, I'm not sure exactly what the
It's generally 2
requirements
in
are.
a
I
small,
think
but
so.
yeah.
and even if we went down beyond the car wash into the back of where the garage is, where the training center is,
Mhm.
we could certainly get a couple of handicap parking spots there, where they could just easily access the training center.
Yeah, no, I just mean keep it in
Yeah.
mind because it's
That's
something
good
to
too.
Yeah,
find out before them rather than after.
sure, yeah,
We're here.
yeah, okay, now, thank you.
I just, the
To
only,
answer your question,
Yep.
you asked about recognizing that
Yeah.
there's 2 parties in play here. I recommended that the application for special permit, the cover sheet, just page 1,
Yeah,
be modified to reflect that the church is actually a co-applicant because a portion of the car wash facility would be on their property. So if they are a co-applicant to the special permit, that would, I think, be what would be needed here.
Well, it's
Okay.
a part of it anyway.
A
The
part.
thing is, I think the necessity of this is for your protection.
yes,
You know,
absolutely.
you may
Yeah.
be able to reach agreement with the church, fine and dandy,
Yeah,
but as I said, suppose
They
the
sell it.
Stinson family decides to get up and just move to Florida
yeah.
and sell the business.
I understand. I know that.
Okay.
And I won't go into the rest of my scenario.
Is that where we're going? We're going-
well, no, Norm, to your point is, I mean, look at, I can't think of the church in Worcester that was sold. But, 10 years down the road, the diocese might want to close Rutland and sell the property. And then with that in place, that protects everybody. You guys that are still living there.
Right.
And the car wash, and you don't know who could buy that property and say, no. But with the easement there, they don't have much of it. They have to say yes.
Right,
Because
I mean,
it's, there's a legal
the-
document in place.
The property is nothing but a riprap wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, and we cleaned it up, it was a overgrown trees, and, we made it look better, and the church was happy with that.
The only thing I liked is on the previous applicant that had this easement, where is that? Easement deed. That'd be a nice document to have for this application, wouldn't it, Dave? To
Well, I
have,
think you need more than just easement deed. The applicant, you have 2 applicants here because the
Yep.
facility's on 2 properties. So the easement would be part of it, but not the only piece. So modify the application, also some kind of explicit
Yeah.
letter of authorization
Yes.
from the church,
Okay,
but between the parties, with the church acknowledging that a portion of this facility will be on their property.
Just an unlimited easement or a lease or
I don't,
how would you?
I'm not in a
it
position
doesn't
to
matter.
recommend the actual form of it,
Okay.
but you just need, we recommend that you,
I'd suggest you get legal advice.
yeah,
Yes.
we'll work on that, yes, yeah. We have, after our walkthrough, on Saturday, we have a lot of things to follow up on, and we are
Yeah.
working on those.
We've got answers we don't have yet from the questions that were asked Saturday.
I-
But we're working on them, they're gonna be here.
that was gonna be my suggestion, Norm, is just continue the hearing because,
Oh, yeah.
we've only had
Oh,
3
oh,
days
yeah.
for these guys to
Yeah.
get the answers.
And it's Thanksgiving.
It's not gonna
it's
happen,
tough.
yeah. Although I would, me personally, I would say, Julie, you don't have it done yet?
We tried.
Oh, you just love to go after Julian.
Yeah,
Let him
I just,
call him.
it's messing with him, that's what I
Yeah.
love to do, but he'll do a good job.
If we're gonna just
He
go
does.
through the list real quick, why just go through the list real quick of what was discussed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the minutes, I think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I think if the list isn't accurate, please feel free to correct.
Sure.
Or if there's anything that's missing, feel free to add. So one thing was the lighting details. One item was lighting details. I understand that, the board understands that there'll be some lights on the structure.
Rat pack lighting,
So it's just to
under 10 feet, and we have 5 different wattage ratings on those lights.
show it with some kind of a.
Absolutely, I'm working on that right
So
now.
that was one of the comments.
And we're gonna go with the lowest wattage that makes sense to pinpoint light and keep it away from the street.
And that there'll be some kind of poles by the vacuum station, so
Yeah.
whatever those look like.
No higher than
inspections.
8x10, pinpoint, single head.
I was gonna ask Dave, after you mentioned that, and you talked about Zach, is if, I mean, I know this is pretty full, but if Julian could throw a detail that on this drawing, that would,
Of our lighting.
yeah, just, not to scale, sort of like this handicap sign, just
I understand, and we can do that because we can say, this is gonna be the wattage, this is gonna be the rat pack that's
Yeah.
sitting there, that's LED, and whatever wattage we need to suffice our lighting right there and not compromise the street.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
And on the detailed drawing, if you just put, like circle L, and then on the building where they are, and then if one is just mounted on the wall, and the other one's mounted on a pole, you could put a simple detail, A and B, and done with it. That's my suggestion, I
I
don't
think
know.
that's a good
No
suggestion.
problem,
to
and
show
we
the
can give
detail.
you an idea whether those are over the bays or they're next to the bays on the building.
Yeah.
And again, we're looking at an 8-foot pole that's gonna be a single head over, we're looking at 3 right there right now.
And I don't think you have to go crazy, I think for our purpose, because we're not doing the detail of the building, is just put, where they are on the building, like a circle with an L for a light, so we can see where it is. That's, I mean, I don't wanna go crazy, it's just more of, overall detail, or overall
I got you.
location, and then
I
a
got you.
detail to go with it, that's
Yeah.
all I think is a good idea.
And our electrician is Matt Hadley, he's a local guy.
I know
So,
Matt well.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be doing all this.
Good, got a good man.
We've worked with him for a long time.
Yeah, he does a lot of our, he does all of our work.
So, next,
Yeah, next item would be some kind of a rendering showing what the proposed garage would look like. I do
Yes.
realize, thank you for sending those pictures. I'm not sure which
But we need
picture,
it finished.
even just a rough.
It's gonna be entirely different,
Yeah.
because what they're showing, it's kind of exclusive. We're building this building attached to our existing business office. What they're showing us in those pictures is freestanding buildings,
Detached,
which
everything's
isn't,
detached.
which isn't a true representation of what we're gonna do.
I guess if there's anything that is representational,
What we're looking at doing, and we can get that for you, will be a drawing of, that building is going to homogenize with the other building that's there, as far as siding, as far as architecture and everything. It's going to look the same as the structure that's there.
We're
We
going-
don't want to upset.
We
the
have to
site.
hire a architectural engineer to build a set of, to design a set of building prints to suit our car wash.
right? I think for now, the.
So maybe like Bill Senecal or somebody that will give us a set of working plans, and then we can have a rendering of what that's gonna look like.
We're just looking for a concept, right, Dave?
Yeah, I was just gonna
So
say.
you don't need to go that
I
far.
think the board is just looking for a sketch of the proposal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ideally, what we want to do is make this, not nice, it's gonna look just like all the other buildings that are there, sided similarly.
Let me try it again this way. Does anyone have the ability to just draw a 3-dimensional drawing? That's gonna kinda
I'll
look
ask.
like,
I
what-
will find out.
you know, yourself.
can't.
Or
I
something that's
can't.
I don't know if
representative.
Julian can, I don't know if, I'm sure Bill Senecal can.
Something that's representational.
Yeah,
It doesn't
okay,
have to be
okay.
your 100% drawing, something that's representational.
Okay,
So then when the board sees the 2-dimension,
right.
they can also see the rendering, it's not to,
Right.
you know.
And maybe include the existing business office.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
the
We wanna have
whole,
the
the
same
whole
colors,
point is to make
same
it
siding
kind of
and everything.
blend,
we're all
right?
Gonna blend
Yeah.
together.
So you're taking, you draw what's already there, and
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. Try it on a piece of paper. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't, like he says, you don't have to go and spend two weeks and have hours of drawings done if it's just gonna flow with what you guys already
I'd
have.
like
and
to
kinda
side
down
it the
hill a
same as the
little bit.
building now with a two-tone.
You know,
red-
and you
red
have the same,
tan.
because some of these kind of look like it because they got the peaks. You know, some of these have arches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have
I'm
arches
assuming
on your
you're not
existing,
looking at
so.
Something like this.
No, no.
No,
Arches
it's
are
not
freaking
going to be as
expensive.
crude as that. It's, we'll
Some of these
detail
are
that
very,
to where you want
very
it to be,
colonial
Well-
style.
or
Yeah.
where anyone
We
wants it to be.
can't really dictate that.
As
either.
far as staying with the motif of the
Yeah.
town, where we've all lived here for a long time.
Yeah.
We understand what the motif of the center of town
It's gotta
is.
look
Yeah,
just
well-
like the Dunkin' Donuts except with garage bays.
Except
Bigger
that,
columns.
so
Bigger
no one's backed up for
In
6
half the
hours in the
traffic.
center of Main Street at 8 o'clock.
I'm joking. Well, the only thing when I looked at the one picture that David had sent with the concept plan, I really didn't want to include that with the plan because they had grass strip and there was no way to get around the building like you guys had mentioned. So I didn't want to. That's what, when
If
we
they
got to the
did
hearing,
that-
I said, please do. I don't want that to be part
Yeah,
of the document
right.
for this because I don't think it serves what you guys are trying to do.
No,
And
no.
it's, we've thought about that. There's a lot of forethought going into
Yep,
this.
yep,
And
yep.
I think we've addressed a lot of the angles that have been brought up. And we've really addressed them well, I think, at this point.
No, I like everything you guys are doing. I just want to get everything focused, and that's what we've gone through now. We can do
Okay.
that.
Yep.
So I think the next line, if I'm not mistaken, were the retaining walls, wherever there's gonna be, one retaining wall is shown at the curve by the parking lot for the main building. But I believe there's gonna be retaining walls
Right here, you mean?
that are gonna
Yep.
be where the parking is on the side, and retaining walls elsewhere. Wherever there's gonna be retaining walls, just to show those on the plan, just a note.
Okay.
Cause you talked
There's
about.
gonna be a little bit of retaining wall on the riprap wall bordering the church,
Yes,
because we gotta get the centers in there.
right.
So they may be 3x3 concrete blocks or whatever, but.
And how that building is, the car wash is gonna be connected to the main building.
Right.
Some retaining wall there, and some retaining wall on the side.
Yeah,
So just a simple note, I think, is what
okay.
you were looking for, Tim?
Well, that I was fine with that, but the other thing is when we did the walk, the representation that I won't say it, the New England environmental design over by where the vac stations are really wasn't represented what was physically there. And that was my concern. The head, the rip rock's probably got a 45-degree angle.
Yeah,
And if you look at the way it's represented on this drawing, it's a lot less steeper than what's there.
yeah.
Yes.
And I just wanted to get that so if somebody looks at this, they know that we're taking the riprap off, we're gonna have a retaining wall, and it's gonna go like
Interlock
this.
retaining with a staircase there,
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
we need
I
to
just
do.
I just wanted to make sure the details were correct because this doesn't, to me, it didn't physically
Okay, well,
represent.
We'll get a plan done up with the staircase and
So are
the
you
back
looking for,
stations and.
you're looking for that lot of detail?
Yeah, it's just basically
Yeah, a little more
cleaning it
detail.
up.
Yeah,
Then related to that, let's see, we've got that on the joint application with the church. The electrical utility connection,
Yeah.
just some simple note indicating that it's gonna be underground from the pole through the building.
No, yeah, through the
Through the
building,
basement.
Through the
right.
building.
Our thought right now, we have a large enough service on the front of that building that we can run 2 services.
Yeah.
Look-
And our idea is to come through, we had discussed this Saturday, we wanna come through underneath the building, run that through that building through an existing chase, so
Yeah,
that we
we
don't have to go
conduit.
underground. Right in, and that building's going to be abutted and attached to our car wash,
Right.
and we'll bring power right in through that, underneath that chase.
When I said underground, I meant not like a line running
Yeah.
to
No,
the.
we're
No,
not,
no,
we're
no.
not channeling.
it's gonna be in the basement,
Yeah.
conduit.
Right, it's going to be in a conditioned
So
space.
I think the board was just
The
looking for a
concern
simple note.
is additional overhead wires.
Yeah.
No, no
There's
overhead
not-
wire.
not-
And to me, just a simple note.
A simple-
No
There will be
overhead wires.
No overhead wires,
A
that's
simple
fine.
note, yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen on plans where it's just like a line X where it shows.
I understand.
And then into building.
But
Matt knows
on that
best.
property, I don't see how you could do overhead, because the property is right in line, you can't.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it if you wanted to, it would be crazy. You could, but it's,
If you want to do overhead, what they do is they go down to that
expansion
pole
of a
that's.
lot.
No, they'd pull the overhead, Grid would pull the overhead off that
Around the
UP5 and come in this
Yep.
way,
Yeah,
as
around
opposed to
Rutland.
going, so, no,
No,
what,
we don't have to do
No,
that.
we're gonna go
what
right
Matt
underneath.
and you
in the
guys are
condition
thinking
area.
of, it's the easiest and the best and the cleanest.
And we're only looking at a 200 amp service going out there. This stuff's all efficient. We're not looking at running 3-phase. We're
Yeah,
not
you're
looking
single
at
phase, yeah.
400. We're staying, well, it's gonna be double phase too, but it's
And-
coming
and-
in off the pole, we can grab that.
And you got a good
Got 200
electrician,
amps.
so he can,
He's all right.
I don't-
And the next item, I think, was a landscaping, if not a plan, but some description of landscaping for the site.
So far, we
It's
have
gonna
Prince
change.
Escapes that maintains our property there. If you look, anytime you drive by there, any time of the year, everything's maintained.
I guess that would be the note. if it
They
had
would
the note.
continue to maintain any
Yeah.
other aesthetics around there as far as shrubbery or keeping things in
Maybe
mind.
that's what the note is just
Because there isn't gonna be any
So
additional.
you need to know with
No,
that
there's
on
no
the plan?
additional.
something simple,
Okay, that it will be maintained as far as aesthetics.
pretty much in the as-is condition.
Yeah, as is, yes, absolutely.
And then these are a couple of little nitpicks, but I think they'd be useful to the plan. It looks like these parking spaces are 9 by 18, but I don't see dimensions on those spaces. If we could just get
I don't
dimensions.
think we've ever measured them.
Well,
Here's your
well,
chance.
what's shown on these, what's shown on?
Oh, okay,
on here.
what he drew on there, yes,
What he
okay,
drew on there appears to be
Okay,
9 by 18.
yeah. okay.
So we can just
Look
get
at, and
the
then this-
dimensions for the parking
this
space,
drainage
like typical
pipe right
parking
here.
space.
Okay.
Get that
Not
and
every single
find out
one
what
of
it
them is
is.
typical.
All right,
What?
There's a
And then some
different
dimensions that
drainage
show
pipe
the
here
width
with no cap.
Of the aisle
Just
itself.
wanna know what that
Okay.
is.
What's the distance from the property
Oh,
line to here?
Because it's on the,
That
it's
looks
part of
to
the
me like it's
plan,
about
so
20-ish.
Julian's gonna have to
Sure,
go out
but
there and
this
take a
is
look
for our
at it and
existing.
we'll
This
talk to Joe
is
Buckley and ask him
essentially
what it is.
isolated from the car one.
Understood.
This is for Century Oil here.
These also seem to be 9 by 18,
Okay.
and they were
We'll
interested
find out, so
in
we
the
want
width.
actual parking space.
Just typical.
okay.
You don't have to measure every single, just the typical one is 9 by 18, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think we're also looking for the width of the aisle, just to, verify that you do actually have enough space to get around, which you do. And I think the last one that I think we had on the list was, well, actually, I have this on my list. If you see this, Zach, you see this, they give us an open space area. This is something that is required in a bylaw, but I'm wondering if that's accurate. It looks like you may have more open space than what is actually shown. Because if you look at this, if the portion of lot is not covered by a structure or not used for drives, parking, or storage, it counts as open space, so retention areas may be considered open space at the discretion of the planning board. It looks like you may have more than that.
Well, as we pull those retention areas, we're going to gain space there. Is
You're
that
gonna
true?
get space there.
Why wouldn't we? If we're pulling that back and now there's more usable space as we do a retention,
So you may actually get,
we're gonna gain on that space.
yeah, I would ask you to take a second look at that. I wonder if you get up to 35% or closer to it.
It could be with these retention walls.
Yeah.
And if that plays in, then yes, we have more utilizable area there.
Yeah, which would count towards the open space requirement, which is a good thing.
Okay.
I think when they did this, they did it under the assumption of a different assumption.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
they gave us that number, but I think it's higher than that.
All right, well, we'll talk with Julian and, make sure this stuff gets done.
Because as you were just saying, when you move this drive this way, you pick up all the space in it.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, and
Exactly.
this is gonna happen here, it's gonna happen, here, it's gonna happen right
Is
here.
that right there?
Yeah,
That's all coming down, and all this is
That's what
gonna come down too. So we're gonna gain a lot of room
You're
there.
only interested in your view.
I understand.
I don't care how
But
trendy he is, he's
I'm
only
putting it all out there, that's
5
all
years
I'm
out.
saying.
Good,
I'm
I
sorry.
agree with you, and that's, we're trying to help you.
It's an argument
Okay.
point, I'm not
But
disagreeing.
definitely
No,
here and
so we just
here
keep
are
going.
huge, because
Yeah.
we're gaining a lot of square footage there.
Yeah. So
And
that's,
as far as I understand, whether that's riprap, whether that's concrete, asphalt, or tar shingle, it doesn't matter, the runoff is the same is whatever it is there. The
The open-
runoff is gonna be the same, it's not gonna change on
the
the
open
property.
space definition is the key part.
Okay,
okay.
So take a look at that, Phil. So
personal lot area not covered by any structure, not used for drive, park, storage, dense areas considered open space. So does that change our runoff on this property?
it's probably gonna decrease it.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, great.
But this is really for the open space calculation.
Well,
Okay.
let's include that because that's only gonna help our cause.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Other than that, Mr. Chair,
I know you
okay.
can't tell me that, but that's
Yeah.
where I'm looking at it.
Mr. Chair, I don't
Yeah,
think I
that-
had anything else on the
That
list.
should be the calculation of your engineer that's doing this, which is New England.
Okay.
Julian should, or I shouldn't say Julian, Michael, that's part of Michael and Bruce's as the surveyor and the engineer, the civil engineer, or mechanical.
I'm just an oil burning guy.
Yeah.
You're learning a lot about land use in the process.
Yeah.
What do we want to know?
Mr. Chair, I don't have anything else, unless you, the board has something.
The only other thing I had is we talked about that drainage pipe and what's it used, what was its use?
Well, I found a lot of chestnuts and acorns in it, in the 4-inch one that we looked at, and to my determination, that hasn't been accessed in a long time. Whether that goes on that building, I'll
Whether
try to
it's part
find
of
it.
our building or part of the town.
I can
Well,
tell you nothing's come out of that in a long time, and all of us watched me down there digging out
Yeah.
acorns. And
All I would
Joe
ask
Buckley
is,
should be able to do.
yeah, that's all I was gonna say, is just walk next door and say, Joe,
go
can you
check
come
it
over
out."
here and take a look at
Hey,
this?
Joe.
Yeah, that's
The
it.
4-inch cast iron main coming through,
Yeah,
we wanna know
and see if
about.
he's got, I mean, he's got drawings
Maybe
in
he's got a
there.
print on it. Who knows?
Yeah, that's,
You'd be surprised.
Maybe
What I
it's-
would think that was
What he has,
probably at one point, that went to drainage probably off of that building, and they were running drainage down there off the
Wasn't there-
gutters of that building. And I've
wasn't
seen
there a
that done
gas
lot.
station there at one time?
Yes, there was.
Well, it could
That
have been
was-
gas
That,
line.
that
too.
was the gas station and repair shop.
Yeah, that could have
And
been,
they dumped all the waste oil in.
That was an
dirt.
MDC trap.
But
that's what I was gonna say.
I'm clear on that. I've got my certificate on
Yeah.
that.
We're good.
I was gonna say, that drain line might go
Don
someplace.
Dotiel got that certificate.
Okay,
That's a clean site.
yeah, no, I just,
Didn't
Joe
Griffin
might
sell
know that.
cars there too? I think
Griffin, he probably did. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
either
He did
Ford or
everything there.
Chevys he sold there. And
Gas
where-
station,
and where
repair shop. Yeah.
Clee is, and that was another
He did everything there.
car salesman there too back.
Yeah.
Did we, Dave, did we, and maybe we haven't done this, the, have we prompted the fire, police, DPW and other, cause I know
We
you
had our
asked.
first meeting,
you asked
we had our
that.
first meeting, and we
You
had
asked
all
that Saturday
good
too.
responses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we got any responses, I guess.
I
Yeah.
had
From
one
police.
response from the police department indicating that the sight lines are not an issue to the site.
Okay,
I'm waiting on my other answers to those other questions.
that's all I need, that's all I wanted to check on, cause I think we can't close the hearing until we've either,
Well, you need this.
there's a bunch of stuff, that's why I was gonna
Oh, yeah.
extend. Do we need a motion to extend, or is there any other discussion we need, or?
Well, we
Just
at least
to
need a
let you
motion to
guys
continue.
know, I went to the DPW today and talked to the girls,
Yeah.
and they did not know you guys were putting in a car wash. Number one, and
We
number-
haven't tried to keep it secret,
Yeah.
but
And number two, I've asked Mr. Buckley for
We have two
On
meetings
that
in
tip,
December, the 14th
another-
and the 28th.
a public hearing or something like that, and he doesn't think
I don't know
they
what
deserve
January
one.
schedule.
And I think they do, because how close
been
those
about
poles are to
having
you,
it
how
28.
close the wires are gonna be to the roof and all
Yeah.
that.
We were.
I don't
I
think,
feel
that
that,
I don't think the state will
the
do it.
public should know, the people
Up to
who
you.
live around there or walk or whatever, should know.
They might have got their second.
And there is
voting
gonna be a
test, but they ain't
wall
getting
across the
state.
street that they're gonna have to put in, you know, for the sidewalk and all
oh yeah.
that.
That's why
Oh,
we're
sidewalks
pushing.
going on
We
that
don't
side.
want,
Sidewalk is on the other side
we
of the
wanna
street.
do all of our work before
We start.
Pommogussett is done.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna be able to tie in there. We
Right.
have 2-inch
I
main,
gotta
and we
get
need
that.
certain things.
I gotta get that road dug and the 2-inch main
Yeah.
put in.
Yep.
Yeah,
For our
cause
water.
everything starts October next year, 2022,
yeah.
is when that tip program is
That's
supposed
what-
to kick off.
Yeah, which year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if nobody else has got anything, I motion to extend hearing to our next meeting, which is December 11th.
Well, she asked the question,
Well, I was just
what the
gonna-
applicant's timeline is for getting these items.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you guys don't have to have everything in 2 weeks, I don't.
I can
not buying
try. Yeah, I really honestly don't think we're gonna have that information at that point.
We can work on it.
I can try, I can do my best.
Well,
If
I'll-
anyone knows what we're dealing with right now, it's everything is okay, I can tell you we can do it tomorrow and it's gonna happen a year from now right now. And that's what we're dealing with our business right now. And I can't promise that, I can do our best.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me, we can put you on there, but if you're not, you know what I mean?
If we're
you-
not
you
ready,
just
we're
wanna
not
keep
ready,
coming
we go
back,
for another
it's fine.
extension. Yeah.
You wanna
We're
do
used to the new normal here.
28th of
And that's
December?
everyone.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little bit hesitant about even having a meeting on the 28th. in between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rest of the board feels like.
You don't have to argue with me, I'm gonna say no to that.
Wow, Tim.
Yeah, I've got enough emergency gas work to keep
I
me
don't know what the
busy.
January schedule looks like, I don't have a calendar on this.
11th and 25th in January
Yeah.
too, but I don't know what's scheduled for it.
Tuesday.
Are you guys, would you guys need anything before January 11th?
No, I wouldn't think
So
so.
nobody's in any rush, and you got a
No,
month plus?
I-
of
you
holidays
gotta
to
give
do
us-
what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, let us
I
start
wanna-
working with,
Ideally, we wanna start this in the spring, it's whatever we have to do, we're contingent on what my guys can do for us right now, our site planning
Yeah.
and everything. And it's the same as everyone.
Contingent.
I'll talk to,
I
you
can't
know,
give you
we'll
a
talk
finite
to
answer.
Julian,
I'd say
we'll talk to,
The next,
An
extend it
architect,
to
engineer, so we
January
get some
11th.
That
drawings
sounds,
done and.
you know,
Yeah.
Could be
because
even more
I
simpler.
think we should be able to
Doesn't
wrap up
necessarily have to
very
be
quickly.
as involved with that, could be a very
Once we get
simple drawing.
everything,
Okay.
I mean, it's just
I
to
don't
me,
wanna put a cost on
done.
this at this point.
Because these guys
All
have
right,
done,
Dave.
I mean, the
Thank you.
details they've got is
What
phenomenal.
time you wanna have it?
I wanna say 6:45 on January 11th?
So moved.
Let's go with that, and
Okay.
if things change, then we can talk, we
We'll-
can decide.
We'll start.
Let's get moving.
Yep.
And I just
Absolutely.
need your JH on the extension right here.
What do I need?
Just his, huh?
He owns half this company too, you know, those two guys over there.
Right there. This applicant. Ooh, a lefty.
Are those your senior vice presidents?
They are.
Something like that.
11, what's it, 22 today?
It looks good when you go to
23.
conferences, passing the cards out.
There you go.
We stay big, we stay influential.
All right, good.
Okay, thank
All
you,
right,
everybody.
awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And
We'll
ladies.
see
Happy
you in
Thanksgiving.
January.
Anything else, give me a call.
Yeah,
All right,
likewise,
Jay.
if you need anything else, just feel free to reach out. You got my email and everything,
Good, thank you.
great.
I need a second on the motion.
Good, you?
Oh, we didn't even vote on it, did we?
No,
Oh,
Oh, do we need a
Did
vote?
motion, I just need a second.
I'll second.
any discussion on the continuance to January 11th?
Nope.
No? Excuse me, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Yep.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Yep,
you
these
too.
two.
Okay. We're getting there.
All right, we're on to, now we're into the fun part.
I was gonna ask about this. but I'm just
Oh, that letter, I saw that.
gonna do this.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a.
August
this is
18th.
From needs.
That's actually part of the application, it didn't find its way into an earlier version.
Oh,
That
okay.
makes a statement regarding the changes of impervious surface from the
Yeah.
existing condition to the proposed. And their conclusion is that it's a negligible decrease.
Yeah. I'm just curious about the stone diaphragm.
Oh, I didn't see that. Well, if they're doing,
Oh, it was on the
You know,
folder, this thing.
if they've moved around since August 18th with this new plan to have the 12-foot to go around and they've moved the retaining walls around, this should be redone, in my opinion.
Probably.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, like I say. Okay, onward, number 5. Maple Hill Estates subdivision, Quinn report. There's still some stuff.
Yeah.
And these are.
It's like little mosquitoes flying around.
You know, this is one of these things where, you know, I look at the first bullet, you try to fix one thing, and guess what?
It cascades into 2 or 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand now how they would do anything with that. Other than ripping up the sidewalk, lowering it, and, you know,
Half of me says, if you do the job right the first time, you don't have to do it the second.
What was in the plan?
Well, there's the ADA requirement.
Right, but when they built it, obviously it had to be graded. Whoever shot the grades was,
Well, that's it, Kevin, that's
they
my,
screwed up from the beginning, at the very
well,
beginning,
yeah, the
so.
thing is, they put in the sidewalk and it's
Right,
not level.
so now are you adding a truckload of loam to every resident? You know what I mean? Does everybody now get 4 more inches of loam in their front yard to make up another driveway's already paved? Are they off kilter too?
Well, some places, yeah, it does say it's gonna put loam, but the biggest thing is the ADA,
Yeah,
and
and,
sidewalk ramps.
yeah, and that could be a problem if somebody took the town to task, cause we let this go through. That's why, I mean, I don't wanna tell Clea to tear it up, but ADA is ADA, that's the end of the discussion,
Yeah.
in my mind.
That's not us,
That's not us.
So,
You have to fix the problem.
yeah.
so is that, I think, cause Carl just reported it, he didn't say it had to be done, so is this something that we should make a bullet item to send to Clea, that you've gotta make your sidewalks ADA compliant?
Well, it said, is maximum allowed under ADA.
It's, yeah, but it's greater than 112,
It
so,
says the slope is greater than one.
so he probably has a tool to measure 1 to 12, and it's more than that, be it a template he has in his
He just didn't say what
folio, you
the,
know what I mean? He's got one of these things that has a 1 to 12
Where are you
slope,
reading that?
right in the
First
first bullet point.
Yeah.
Bullet.
Section 5.
A 1 to 12 slope is the maximum allowed under ADA and MAAB.
Right.
And he
Yeah, but
is
if you read
exceeding
Sentence
that.
before,
Huh?
repaving the
He is
sidewalk.
exceeding that maximum.
yeah, in the second
The
sentence it
line
says,
before it says he's exceeding.
Repaving the sidewalk has resulted in a slope much greater than a 1 to 12 on the end of the ramp adjacent to the cul-de-sac. So he's got 12 or 18 inches that's, so somebody, and there are people that have to turn around and go backwards over 1 to 12, because when you're on the wheelchairs, those front little tiny wheels
you.
drop down and they flip over. So there'll be people, I'm sure, that will notice that and they'll turn around and they'll back down that
I
little
don't
thing.
think they need to do that.
I think, well, they shouldn't have to do that, but that's what I can see happening, is that they gotta turn around because the little knobbies on the front of the small wheels, that's why they have those things. That's what that picture shows.
Yeah. I just
The
think,
slopes are usually 3% maximum, I thought.
it says that, it's less than 2%, however, the repaving the side, he said the cross
greater.
slopes were measured less than 2%, however, repaving the sidewalk has resulted in a slope much greater than 1 to 12 at the end of the ramp adjacent to the cul-de-sac. And then he says 1 to 12 is maximum, so this is my opinion how we should word this to Clea. Go back and fix your ramp accesses to make it 1 to 12 maximum, end of argument.
So as I'm still kinda new on all this, Clea gets copied on all of these,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So do we just go back and reference, I hear what you're saying, is there a standard way to say, hey, Clea, in our meeting last night, there was a point about bullet point this and this, what is your intent here? How is this gonna be rectified? And ask him the question, is how is he gonna fix it?
We can, we don't always.
That's what I'm wondering.
Now, it's just like the catch basin thing on Bear Hill too. The first time that Quinn commented on it, we didn't.
Nothing
we-
happened.
Nothing happened.
nothing
But
happened,
also,
but right.
we didn't reinforce it to Blair either.
Right.
So, it's not something we automatically, as soon as we see something on a Quinn report, that we then notify.
Well, like you said, like Tim said, ADA, we talked about ADA, potential compliant ramps on these it's
Yeah.
not something that,
Oh, no, and it's a question, do we wait to see if he's gonna do something about it?
I think we help
Or,
him.
or do you help them and say, let's just make,
Or do we get-
or do we, let's go down the rest of these bullet points and then come back to
Well,
it?
and that's the
'Cause
problem
there's
I've
other stuff
got,
here
Norm, is number 2 is the cascade effect. Is if he does number 1, it's got higher to adjacent finish grade, so additional loam we place to make the sidewalk flush with adjacent finish grades. So that could change if he redoes the sidewalks to meet the ADA slope.
yeah, well, he's obviously only gonna do a very small portion.
Correct.
He doesn't have to do the whole sidewalk, you only gotta go back, whatever,
Yeah.
4 feet,
Maybe.
Yeah.
5 feet, go down,
Yeah,
that'll be 1 to 12.
so,
An additional loan this time of year?
Frozen
Hey.
loam.
hey, he's not gonna get this thing accepted until spring anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but in May, better hope for a good thaw in April.
You may wanna fix this now, but.
I can go to Home Depot and get bags of loan, they'll have
Yeah.
it by then.
So, I don't know, I have no trouble with the street trees. I don't know about
I
anybody
don't,
else.
Norm, I was the same way, and those just because of what we've dealt with the roots in the past. Maybe having them farther apart's not a bad thing.
The
What
next-
about the stop sign? How many times does that come up?
Yeah.
Seems pretty simple. If it's the final paved job, why shouldn't there be a stop sign if that is?
If there's people living there, that should be in place.
Absolutely. I mean, it's Maple Avenue. It's one of the busiest roads in our town.
Would that
Any
make
intersection there.
Lee responsible if there's an accident?
Roads are still his. I don't know the legality of it, but he has to plow it, he has to maintain it, so.
You might,
But it-
yeah.
He might be held liable.
Mhm.
Those are the two things that jump right out at me: is the ADA slope, and then there's no stop signs and stuff. And it seems like a very simple thing to put in a stop sign. And I believe if I don't think they're concreted, right? The poles are just
No,
in
they're
the
just
ground.
what do you
18
call it?
inches or 2 feet or whatever down. You might
The
as
channel, the channels for the
better
stop
get it in
signs.
now, because before the ground freezes, or it's not going to be in there until May, if it doesn't get in the next couple of weeks.
I guess, Norma, to Kevin's point, me personally, I really don't wanna wait 4 weeks before May town meeting to get these cleaned up.
Well,
When
I can see that.
I really, the opportunity's now to get it done, just get it done. And then when it come to May, it's basically Carl going down, check, as-built, we look it over, and it gets put on the warrant, and it's done. Cause my gut feeling, again, I'm just talking out loud, is these will get blown off until April.
Yep.
And then we've got 4 weeks to put this together, and I'm really not, I don't want, we've gone through that too many times on this board.
A lot of this stuff looks like it's weather dependent, like you're
It
right,
is.
right now.
Yeah.
And this was sent November 17th, so 4 days ago. 7 days ago.
So
Last
instead of grass
Tuesday.
being reestablished in these areas,
Some of that stuff I can see wait till April, I'm okay, but this mechanical stuff,
yeah.
just get it fixed. So when we get to April, we've got grass, needs to be reestablished. What else?
The edges of the
Catch
concrete
spations might
piece.
have to be cleaned out again, and that's it. We have 2 items.
Well, did we have the picture of this concrete piece used on the spillway? Should we send into the berm so the water is forced to flow over the concrete, not along the side?
Yeah, that's figure 2, I think.
Trash rack on outlet control structure.
Yeah, it was dirty.
So I was missing another one. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but again, it sounds like something should be done now, because the ground, if you're gonna move
And there's dirty stone,
concrete
in-
berm,
dirty stone in
now.
the spillway.
Yeah.
What happens with spring washes, melting snow, it's not gonna get any better.
No,
No, siltation will
but
hit into the storm drains and
Yep.
everything will have to be cleaned.
Can we have just a recommendation on this email that anything that is weather dependent, Dave, get done if possible now, so we're not, as you guys said, worrying about this in May? Because he doesn't want to scramble and not have this accepted at the town meeting, and
Oh, he won't
Wait,
scramble,
no,
we'll be
I-
scrambling.
we'll be scrambling, right?
When do we, oh God, come on, knock down the price there. What the hell did you talk?
Oh, I was saying,
The
we
what?
just, we need to get this done
The
with,
price for what?
The bond?
Oh, the
Pardon?
the
The
bond.
bond?
The bond,
oh.
reduction of the bond.
We did that last meeting. But there was still enough, I think there was.
oh yeah, there's still money there.
Yeah,
14, wasn't it about 14,000 or was it 100 and something thousand?
that was 140 something thousand still left on there. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, maybe I've got it here. In my
Um,
supply of stuff from last week, the last meeting.
It'll be in the minutes.
Let's see if we got the bond.
I don't know, we could also just send just a general letter to, pay attention to these, to the
Well, that
items
email was
on-
sent about the surety amount for Bear Hill 2. And then he says, yes, we will jump right on that, hopefully get 100% of the week clean. There is also, and he says here on November 17th, Carl wrote, Clee, there were a handful of outstanding items in the Maple Hill Estate subdivision. I think it made sense to hold off on updating the surety estimate until all those are taken care of. Do you agree? Is that similar, did you read that, Dick?
Yes,
That's similar to what you're talking about, right?
correct.
Well, the question is that how big a responsibility is for us to keep prodding him at the point in time when it's done?
Some of these things, yeah.
I don't think we have any real responsibility.
We're just trying to make our lives easier and for the Maytown meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what, like you said, what happens if something happens? What if a car blows through a stone, there's no stop sign there? That's on him, he owns the road?
Yep.
Well, no, my opinion is, in my experience, the individual will do the shotgun approach and sue everybody.
So I think we sent an email and say, we think you should get your stop sign put up now. Sooner than later, we've been talked about it before. I don't see why it wouldn't happen. Can't take that long.
Could we, I wish Cleve was here today, because we could try to get some of this stuff squared away. Let's see, that's 2, 4,
We'll send you
6. Is there any way we could send him a letter and say, something to the effect, November 17th, Quinn report, could you please take care of the items that can be taken care of in this season?
Mhm.
With the exception of bullet 6, which the boards, and again, I'm just talking out loud,
Which is-
we're okay with the 65-foot tree spacing. I mean, obviously, he's not gonna reestablish grass, we get that. But, you know, it's the spillway being cleaned.
It's the safety things that get me.
Yeah. You know, the stone should meet the plan specification and be clean per the definitive plan. Stop sign should be there. Trash rack should be installed, an outlet control structure. I mean, the vac system, that's just a comment. And then the sidewalks and the ADA. I mean, that's all stuff that he could get cleaned up, like he said, in a week or two.
Yeah.
And it's done. I mean,
I'm not, what if you just said, you know, clean up the items? Do you wanna go into every single one, or just?
Well-
That's what I was kinda thinking, you just, if we're gonna do anything, just send them a general note. That, you know, all of the items in the November 17th Quinn report need to be addressed immediately.
I like that, Norm.
Yeah.
It's short and to the point. I'm good with that. That'd be excellent.
Good idea.
See you at the next meeting.
And I guess maybe you would reference all the November 17 reports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch
Yeah.
of,
Because, you know, if
the other ones we're
we're
going
getting
through here.
into particular
Brice
correspondence
Lemon, Brintnal.
for all of these, and that's kind of uncharted territory. But if you do look at the email that was sent after the Ricardos, there's another request for a
Bond reduction, I
bond
see that.
reduction. Bond
Yes.
reduction does not have to be issued if the board's not comfortable in issuing it. So,
No.
if
we
these things
settled?
aren't resolved, I think they're the issue, if the bond is at stake,
Yeah.
or the reduction thereof.
Are we settled on Maple Hill?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I am.
Then let's just go
Yeah.
to the next Quinn report,
Brice Lemon.
which is Brice Lemon. And, it appears,
Hydro seeding on November 17th. Not sure I would have done that.
I don't know what they actually use for seed on that stuff, but I'll tell you, it is pretty remarkable how
Okay.
cold the weather can be.
And it
it
still
will-
grows?
It will still germinate.
Wow.
It won't grow very big,
Once it gets above 40 degrees,
But,
it will
you
grow.
know, yeah.
I think we're getting past that stage in end of November.
I think it was a week ago, got to 60-something degrees.
Thursday, baby. Town meeting.
Yeah. This Thursday is supposed to be in the 50s.
Yep.
Oh, good. I can put the relatives out on the deck.
So raised joints where the sidewalk pavement meets the residential driveways.
I like your idea, Norm. Just box all of these up and say, please address. Because it's not our responsibility to track each one of these.
Right.
Quinn's give us a report, and we should be telling the developer to fix it
Right.
from the
That's
Quinn
it.
report. Because he's paying for this, right? We're not paying
Oh,
for
yeah.
the Quinn reports.
Anyway, that's the only thing I see on Brice Lemon is that
Yeah.
one item.
That's it.
Okay, Bear Hill 2. Oops, wait a
Oh,
minute.
is that the,
No,
Brintnal.
Brintnal is next.
well, we had the Bear Hill 2 part of the, we had the bond reduction that we skipped over, which was the surety bond reduction that was part of number, yeah, maybe we had,
Didn't have a number on the packet, unless it was supplemental.
Let's see, Brintnal. I didn't recall anything on this one particularly.
well, it's the big one that we've talked about on every subdivision, is do you have your engineer that's looking at your walls, and are they gonna certify it so we don't have to be chasing them at the, when we go to accept the property?
That's one as far as I'm concerned. He knows. And if he doesn't do it, too bad.
We're gonna have to be tough this time, because we gave a generosity on Brice Lemon.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be as generous this time, because this is the second time around. I'll let Maryland second one.
Anyway, I don't really see any items
No,
on Brintnal, which, I say, we're really not moving that quickly on Brintnal. I'm surprised.
Things just getting cold, slowing down.
Okay, and then we have Bear Hill 2. We'll take a look at Bear Hill 2. And
Yeah, I made a comment. An allowance for legal fees has not been included. As recommended, the town council be consulted in order to provide a budget for this item. I don't care about the, yes, legal fees should. Also, where's the money? Have we been paid the money? Huh?
what do you mean, the application fee?
Yeah. Application for each house. Wasn't Bear Hill 2, $125 for each house?
He
Was
hasn't, he hasn't built any.
yeah, all he's got is these.
Did he ever pay for the other ones?
Probably not. Well, he'd probably say he's got an escrow account.
I know he's gonna say that, but how soon, look what, did you remember? No.
No.
Did anybody else remember?
This is my opinion about this surety document. When you get this fixed with all of the catch basins, and you get the sewer inspection of the DPW that's already been done, and maybe the sewer is not the issue, maybe it's just the stone and the silt fence. Once this report is clean from Quinn, then I'd be okay to go with the surety bond to review it. That's my opinion. Because I don't think we should, in my opinion, I don't think we should grant this until these are cleaned up.
I agree.
Great,
I can buy that.
but I still want, I thought it was like a special condition that we had for that Bear Hill 2.
Didn't George already say we couldn't do that?
I don't
remember-
give a sweet hoot.
I'm
It
just
was
saying.
there.
We'd have to go back and look at the conditions.
Yeah.
It's gotta be in there if it is.
I know what you're talking about, Dick, because I remember that discussion.
You've got that written down, Tamika, in the minutes? Thank you.
Did you say it was 125?
I,
Somewhere around there.
someplace in there, yeah.
And what fund did that go into?
Well, see, that's what I mean, that, you know, I cannot remember at the moment. And it wasn't to do anything with the homeowners association, no,
No.
it was something to do with us, or, you know, whether or not it was gonna go to a special account or whatever.
Okay, well, we've got a revolving fund, so we have a place to put it.
No, we can't do that.
Or with those funds, because it's individual from the subdivision.
Yeah.
Donate it to the land guys in Rutland so they can buy land for the town.
Well, you know, it could be something like that.
All right.
There are no land guys in town.
No, we set a special fund up for that. I remember that, and we put $500 in it.
Into, yes, the Ag Commission, special
Okay.
account.
I'm fine with putting the money there.
I'm saying that Rutland Land Conservancy is no
That's-
longer
Oh, it's been,
dissolved.
It's dissolved.
oh, I did not know that.
DCR has picked up their property in Rutland,
Oh.
down here by the rural cemetery and also out on Walnut Road.
What about the DCR property off of Glenwood Place? Is that still,
There is no DCR that I know of.
that was a
Property-
different, it was
Audubon,
different.
I think. was
Yeah,
it?
It
thanks,
was
Marilyn,
something
yeah.
like that, yes.
You're right, I apologize, yep.
And the gentleman that owned it was at that meeting.
All right, number 9.
So anyways, it's something that I feel that we should look at and find out.
Do we need to send Clea a letter, Norm, saying that we have postponed the surety bond review until you clean up? I shouldn't say clean up, that's bad. Until.
Address.
Address, I like that, Kevin.
Addressed on November 17th.
Quinn report?
Reports. Remember making a plural. It's multiple reports.
Okay, number 9, Scenic Byway District Local Technical Assistance.
I've been getting a lot of Facebooks of these, of wanting me to buy old maps. And I was like, gotta find out where those Williams used to hang out back in the 1860s. They have a little still back in the woods?
Just don't go down beyond my place,
Okay.
but it wasn't a still, it was an old arch.
I don't wanna know. Lack of knowledge keeps me out of prison.
Steam rising out of it.
Maple syrup.
Ah,
Can I say I like this, but,
The only thing I did is, I've talked to Dave on the second page here, that map, there's some of the, interesting and scenic locations, a couple of them need to be changed, or, little changes, that's all.
Right, so in the email that I sent that went along with this from the Regional Planning Commission, so this is a local technical assistance project between the Planning Office and the Regional Planning Commission to realize some of the recommendations made in some reports, open space in the rural, the Scenic Byway report, to try to realize some of these recommendations, to move it a little bit further. As part of this, the idea is to also update the flyer in the kiosk down at 122 and 122A. So according to their instructions, the items that are highlighted in yellow, they want us to check on those to see if they're obsolete. And if so, if they're obsolete, can something else be replaced there? If nothing can go in there, then we would just probably strike that month's activity. Basically, the idea is to show that the town has some key events happening throughout the year, in this case from March till December. So what's highlighted is really what they want us to check on the one side of the community events throughout the year, on the right-hand side, and then on the left, interesting and scenic locations. So I think we're looking for actual concrete suggestions on how to update this, because as part of the project, the Regional Planning Commission represents to us that they can print these out under their budget and replace the old flyers with the new ones, the old large size presentations with new information.
The only thing, Dave, that, and I don't know how to address this, I talked to Mike Sullivan, and obviously, Harbor Classic Homes has really got a good engineering company, and they're moving along. Once that starts building, the old sanatorium's sort of off limits.
Wrong
'Cause-
sanatorium.
What's that?
That's not a sanatorium, the Heights.
Is this a different sanatorium?
It's the first TB sanatorium in the United States, is off of Central Tree Road.
I did not know that. I just learned something new.
I thought it was
No, the other one was a Veterans Hospital.
in the
So,
beginning.
In the beginning?
The Heights is the VA hospital site, which is 10.
Correct. It's a Veterans Hospital.
And the sanatorium is 14. Oh, okay, I like it. I apologize. I was looking at the name and I didn't look at the map. Oh, okay, zip it, Skippy.
Well, you still have your comment for.
Yeah, for number
Would
10.
item 10 go away once the heights is built up?
Yeah, cause I really don't think, I mean, this 300th, I think will be good as part of a learning experience for people in town. But come down the road, I don't think we wanna be traipsing through where people live. That's my opinion. I mean, you can, but.
Yeah.
And the
That's,
community events, there's definitely a couple of things here. August, the Chowder Chili Challenge is gone.
It's gone, right?
Yeah.
hold on a second, we could do a beer tent again.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what's
And-
happening. I mean, a lot of things have changed, so.
Yeah,
In March, pancakes at the farm, it's not Heifer Farm anymore.
No, it isn't Heifer Farm, but Old Farm, they may be doing that this coming year. A couple of years ago, we did it.
Oh, yeah.
so is that something
So,
that we should update, Overlook Farm?
Well,
instead of-
I'm, as Dave says, you know, you need updates, so that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Okay.
I don't know if she's gonna be there tomorrow or not. I got funny feelings she won't be up at the Old Farm at,
Let me ask, in June, the farm day, does that, take care of Kevin's, Skip's, Randy's,
we haven't done that,
Schultz's?
we haven't
Right.
done that in a long time.
Okay,
Because June, you're trying to get first cutting done or get corn planted and things like that.
oh, because June is the first, and you look for places that are not raining and dry, and then
Yeah.
you get it done. Okay.
Is this gonna be changed on, I have two
Yeah.
questions, changed
That's
on
why,
yearly-
that's why they're yellow, to find out if we can update it and try to
Okay.
see,
But
you
will
know.
it be changed on a yearly basis?
It's possible, it all depends how things work out, you know.
But they were looking to get this for a flyer, Dave, is that what it
Yes.
was?
Looking to get it for the
For the
full-size,
full-
Oh, that,
full-size poster
oh,
that
okay.
goes inside the kiosk itself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a yearly project or not.
If it's gonna be updated yearly?
I'm not sure about that, actually. I should, that's a good question.
It seems like.
Maybe something to know what the cost is this year, and if the same printers are used annually with the same file, and then we send out, like, say, next year, we wanna change something, the town itself, CMRPC, all that takes care of all the work that goes into it, and then can we now upgrade it annually for $100? You know what I mean? Could it be
So cost of updates yearly after this
afterwards?
Yeah.
contract?
And,
Whoever's doing the first one, see what it would cost next year to make 20 changes on it, 10 changes, can we get it done? Or if it's every 2 years.
I mean, well,
Yeah, and to Kevin's point, the big changes will be on the dates, that's only.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the community events
Yeah.
particularly,
Mhm.
because I think it's hard to,
Have the same one year after year.
to program, to foresee what's gonna happen.
Well, can this
which ones are gonna-
poster be done with this generic, just
Yeah,
black?
that-
just leave the generic and have.
And then every year, we have to print up a 18-inch by 24,
As
whatever,
an insert?
whatever
As an
this
in- yeah.
thing is, the town just prints on top of it?
You mean have a template?
It's almost a calendar of events
Yeah,
annually.
yeah.
So this all stays, the site
Yeah,
of the
everything else
sanatorium
is
doesn't
staying
change,
the
the site of
same.
the Central T doesn't change, the site of Mushkapog Pond doesn't change, so the map doesn't change, just the annual
We were talking about
date of events.
we were talking about the community events,
Yeah.
and my point is, I think it's very hard to establish that in March for the rest of the year, because it's a fluid thing, things change, some of them,
It-
it's,
No,
I mean, some of them are every year, the town year, the yard sale is in April, and the
July
Memorial Day parade is always in May, but a lot, the 4th of July is obviously on the 4th of July, but other things change over the course of, between March and December. There can be quite a few changes in a year.
And if you just put community events, and then, basically join us community events and leave everything below that blank, you could come up with a template, 2021 community events, and below that put 2021, and then all the dates below it. And you could fill that in every year, just basically over, that's,
I think I understand. So we're trying to accomplish at least one thing, and then the second one, when we get to the first one. So the first one is to update this calendar to strike the items that are obsolete and replace them if we can to get something up as a replacement for now.
Yeah.
Step
Well,
one. And then step two is outreach to the Regional Planning Commission and see if this can be done on a yearly basis by going through this yearly,
Yeah,
and then see what the cost is and what the frequency is and how we can do that. So there's two
Right.
parts. I understand both parts.
right.
I will look into the second part, but I think for now, if we could just get some guidance on this.
Right, yeah, no,
And then we'll look
absolutely,
into the
there's
second
two,
part as a
two
second
sections,
piece.
Yeah.
yeah, two sections there.
And if for some reason something is left vacant, empty for March, maybe it's prudent to say, check the town's website for any updates.
Yeah.
As opposed to not having anything.
That probably ought to be
Yeah, I think that that should
said
be,
right on the bottom, should be.
right,
I'll talk to,
Permanent.
I'll talk to the brigade too, cause what I don't see on here is, we have a huge, well, I guess maybe that's out of town. Usually in June, we have a big golf tournament for the fire brigade we advertise for town. That usually brings in a good portion of Rutland people.
and when is that?
It's in June, usually around the 18th.
So change Jews, you could change
Yeah.
Farm Day for
Golf day.
Rutland Volunteer Fire Brigade's golf
golf tournament.
tournament,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is this again, please? Rutland
On
Fire-
June, it's you could put
June.
golf tournament, and then below that hyphen volunteer fire brigade.
Okay, that's good, so that.
That takes care of
That'll
June.
replace June, good.
And you guys could tell me this, the Finnish American Chicken Barbecue, I missed that for the last 21 years. Do they actually have that?
Yes, they
Uh,
did. They used to.
I don't
Fin
think,
Park.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the last year it didn't.
well, they didn't, yeah, they
Last
didn't
year
do it
didn't.
with the pandemic,
Yeah,
but they
I
do, it's a fairly small
Still,
area
Yeah,
and.
but there's still several hundred birds.
Is that over
Sell
Finn
it
Twin
every year.
Park?
Pardon?
Soviet
That
Park.
Finn Park,
Where
yeah.
that little community center
Yeah.
Yeah.
area is? I've been
Yeah.
over, I
Yeah,
used
at
to
the very
hunt over
top.
there.
Used to
Right at the very
what?
top.
I used to hunt over there,
Oh,
back,
yeah,
back
right.
where the solar panels are.
I know,
So
you were
that's
telling me
still
that
happening.
when I tried to climb the hill.
It's
It
But
did
the
up
thing-
until
no,
a
it
year or
is.
two ago. I don't think
Except-
it did last year with
except for
COVID,
the
but it
pandemic.
might
But I
have the
think
year,
I
I know it
read-
did the year
Yeah.
before.
I think
Leave it on there
heard-
then.
So I'm not striking it then.
I wouldn't
No.
strike it
No,
yet,
they-
no.
I think
No.
I heard something that it was on this year,
All
and it
right.
wasn't
Let me
here.
check, I'll check August, that'll be mine, cause I'll talk to Randy and John Pica, our president or captain and secretary, about if we're gonna do anything in the fall.
What are you
The
gonna
fire
check on
brigade.
for August?
The Chowder and Chili Challenge has been dead for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we, now that the pandemic's sort of rolling down, and we're back into the fundraising mode, if we have another replacement.
Well, it'd be good
Well-
if there was, I'm sorry, can I,
No, go ahead.
sorry. Would be good to have something in August, because right now, we're looking to have the food truck. Right now, given the 300th anniversary, the food truck may not happen on the preferred July date, but maybe, if something, it wouldn't happen in August, I don't think, but something in August would be useful.
I just had another thought, well, when we were at town meeting, the woman sitting next to me had, it was on the agenda, and they have their, whatever the organization was, it's on the agenda, and they have their own list of everything for the,
Council on Aging.
no, it was the committee for the, for the,
300.
yeah, the 300th
300.
year. They have a whole list of things too.
If this can be updated on a yearly basis, then it would make sense to put the 300th anniversary events on
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For this one.
Yeah,
And then
I-
change it,
I think it really should be,
that's, yeah.
And honestly, I like where you were going with this, Dave, because we had the food truck in early September this year. Why couldn't we move it back to the end of August?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would
Yeah.
fill August up, because the fire brigade is committed to have, some type of beer tent with the food fest, so.
Well, let me ask you that then. Right now, we're working on the food truck festival for next year. We have tentative dates for June. We have a date locked down for the 300th anniversary committee in June. You have tentative dates for the event itself on July, August, and September. Is there any downside to August versus July or September in terms of soccer, baseball, the heat?
Vacations.
Yeah.
Because August might make sense to just make August the food truck.
Well, if we did the end of August, I mean that's when, doesn't school start the 1st of September?
Roughly,
So-
sometimes the end
Sometimes
of
in
August.
though, sometimes
Yeah,
after
so if we did the end of
last
August,
week of
we're
August.
sort of bypassing the vacations, because families aren't gonna go on vacations when the kids are going back to school. I mean, we didn't.
Now, what, there
Maybe
was
they
a
do.
bandstand donated to the town,
Yeah,
so they're gonna have the bands in, playing every,
are you guys thinking of, have you talked, are they planning on doing that? I mean, I know they did it for the 300th. Is Jeff planning on doing that in the summertime?
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know if he'd mentioned.
well, I'm
anything.
just saying, I mean, that's another thing too, you know,
I mean, it was freaking pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah,
They were
that was
crammed
quite
every
a
night.
drawing, so,
I mean, it's like what Holden used to do, where they'd have in front of the senior center, they would have
They
you know,
did
like
that, too.
people
Yeah.
come every.
They
I mean,
revived
they had
it.
a whole layout of a month or two of people coming there. It was great.
Yeah, they did that at the end of the summer, they had 3 or 4.
that's what I mean.
But
Something
if it
else.
was me, I would talk to Ron and I can talk to the fire brigade. We're fluid. We can work out whatever. But I would talk to Ron, and my opinion is to fill August. Because we got June, July already with the 4th of July, other events.
So
Let's fill August with a food truck.
then my
Yeah,
question
makes
is from the fire brigade's experience with the chili and chowder festival, was that successful in August?
It was, but it's not gonna happen because we're
I'm
not
not
gonna.
suggesting that they do it, I'm looking to understand.
Oh,
whether
yeah.
There's sufficient
Yes.
audience there in
Oh, my
August.
gosh,
Yeah.
that used to fill the entire memorial field up.
Yeah,
It did, but wasn't that kind of petering out?
The
towards the
reason
end?
is because of the economy. There wasn't enough,
Restaurants weren't in.
yeah, the restaurants were dying out, and so we got to a point where we couldn't get anybody to come in.
Right.
I thought it was because nobody wanted to enter, because Four Corners wanted to be here.
No,
I'm not, they want,
I know.
no, we,
I honestly, some of them like,
The-
I gotta
the
buy
last
it
year
anymore
we
because
had
they won
it,
every single year.
we spent so much time basically almost begging people to come. That, because there was no restaurants open, I think it was 08, 09, so it's been about maybe 9 years ago. Everything just collapsed.
yeah.
You don't
the
think it
housing
could be
in
revitalized?
Well,
Did you
the
even-
thought process is we were going to do a music fest, but that was just it didn't go well. We
Right.
couldn't get tickets sold. It was just a mess. So the fire brigade walked away from fall anything because we were being successful with the chicken barbecue and with the golf tournaments enough to hold
Right.
our funding together. But the last
Right.
couple of years hasn't been too.
Yeah.
So this beer tent thing that we tried with the food truck was somewhat successful, and I sort of kicked it off. Karen and I kicked it off, and it went well. The first year we broke even. This year we've made some money, and so next year we intend to do it with the 4th of July, have a beer tent, which has never been done at Rutland before, and then also in the fall with a food truck.
So,
My point, excuse me.
yes, Scott,
My point on the Chowder Fest is I think that they were kind of fading out all over the place.
Yeah.
Austin wasn't doing it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it just.
Well, we added
died.
chili because we needed something, because the
Mm.
chowder guys were doing this, and we threw
Right.
chili in
But
to help.
I'm not, my point is not that that you guys, I'm not the
Oh, the overall.
overall
Yeah.
picture that Chowder
Yeah.
Fests were fading away.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice thing because we not only had that, but we had vendors in the back,
Yeah, it was
petting
very
zoo,
nice.
and then we brought in the Holden Fire guys and dunked them. That was fun.
And the little bank truck.
Yeah, yeah, and we had vendors like Gibbs was there. That Gibby's came with the ice cream.
Yeah.
It was just a good. But
It was.
Maryland's point, it just died.
so the idea is that the food truck festival would be a good fit in August?
Yeah, Mike Nicholson was looking for a filler, and that was the perfect filler. He struck a home run
We
with
did it
that
in July,
food truck. The first time we did it.
And then the second one was in September.
Didn't know.
No, there's only been two, because, okay, wait,
Let's just get to the point. Let's do it in August.
oh, good,
Put it in.
and then what about anything for March to replace?
Well, I'm gonna find out if, Overlook Farm is gonna do that.
Do you have any sense of timing?
No, not, I gotta talk to the executive director.
So I'll just put question mark, and how about for?
June's gonna be a tough one, cause there's nothing there right now, cause that doesn't,
We have June, the golf tournament.
oh,
Friday.
okay, yep,
We
yep,
just
yeah, I
talked
take
about
that,
And
sorry.
I think it was, God, I hate this, old age. October, I know that Old Brook Farm had a, get-together, and had about 600 people show up. So I'll find out from the executive director if that's gonna be again for this coming year.
So I'll just put Overlook question mark for
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
If Overlook would pick up, if Overlook had the capacity to do some large events like that, that would really be,
Yeah.
key, I think.
Well-
How about a maple syrup festival?
Yeah, what about Maple, yeah, I
Well,
was just thinking of that.
Yeah, my
What about
nephew-
Mason Farms, or Mason?
Yeah,
Bob, he has a
Mason,
huge-
Bob Mason's another one too.
He has a huge, well, here's my opinion, Dave. Since this is all directed around Rutland, or, the community, I think Ron and yourself should have a discussion with Kevin, with, I don't know what's Dick's place called now.
Me
Schultz.
neither, because you gotta be careful.
I don't know what it's called, but
I
Schultz's
can't
old
remember.
farm,
Yeah,
Skip, you should bring in the
Schultz
major
Farm
pla-
has never changed, my friend. It's Schultz Farm, period, has been for
No, there's a
years.
new name up there on their
That's
house.
not, I didn't put that name there, someone else did.
Okay.
Oh.
People who are leasing the property.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
well,
have existed since 1989.
sounds like a, you
Continue
hear,
to do so.
you're a ghost.
Yeah.
I could swear I
Yeah.
could hear Dick Schultz way back when.
Yeah, you got me, I'm here.
So that one,
What is what's the goal with?
the goal was, I guess, if you want to do something in October, something or that area, get the major agricultural guys in Rutland together and find out what all of them can do.
I guess I would probably have the conversation with the agricultural commission.
Yeah, that's
to see
true.
If they had any suggestions.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just gonna put Overlook question mark for October.
Yeah.
In December, nothing in November? And then December.
Well, December, the festival of trees is just
Festival of
huge.
Trees,
Yeah.
and also, there was the other thing that,
Don't they have up at Trips the living nativity scene in Rutland? Isn't that a big thing?
Mesa Farm.
Mesa
Yeah.
Farm,
Which is
yeah.
the same thing.
I call it Trips because I just know Andy.
Dale Perkins, yeah.
Isn't that something we should, I think we should advertise that because it's in
Yeah.
Rutland.
Yeah, anything that happens in Rutland.
So it's a living nativity
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
at
seen
Mesa
it.
Farms.
yeah.
And that's been going on for
It's usually,
years.
February into March is my nephew, Sap Castle, when he's doing the boiling,
Yeah, maple.
maple syrup. Yeah.
So, would you be able to, so you're gonna check on Overlook and maybe Sap Castle for a maple event?
Find out.
Good. So that hopefully takes care of that side with community events. And then what about the interesting scenic locations? They're only highlighting, community hall's highlighted, I don't see anything issue there. Memorial
Yeah.
Field, no issue there. Heifer Farm, obviously.
No.
We can call this Overlook, right? Overlook,
Yeah.
and what's the official name of the charitable side?
I believe it's Overlook Farm.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's Overlook, yeah, I better make sure first.
And you
Jesus
better
Christ.
check on the location of
Knowing
the
me
central
lately.
tree because it doesn't exist what used to exist, correct?
Just a quick thing before I
Oh,
forget
go
it. When you're talking to them about the posters, our biggest downfall with them making the posters, faded in the sun,
So they need a UV protecting, UV something over the top of UV protector.
Or is it that or some paper or a different type of paper or something like that?
You need a UV protected coating over the paper.
Over the paper itself.
Over the paper, yep.
So issue with fading
Fading.
prior.
They need more than one copy, so when one fades, they can put up a new one.
Well, it got to the point where it was so bad, it only lasted like maybe 3 weeks and that was it.
Really?
Boy, it faded fast. Oh, yeah.
Very
That's
good.
not so good.
I think I have the stuff I need for this piece
Cool.
of this. I appreciate it. Thank you. And we may come back for another set of questions, because I guess from Dick that these were left at the kiosk as well. These don't have exactly the same information as these. These have a lot more commercial businesses, so you may want to seek feedback on this, but that's for a different day. So thank you very much, board.
is there any other business to come before the board?
Yeah, there are 2 items added to the
Yeah,
agenda
yes.
for
Oh,
board members' requests. I think you have the revised,
There were,
I do,
I don't think so.
I don't.
there were,
the items were number 11, Spotted Cow Kitchen Use, and number 12, 80 Hillside Road.
they were in your emails.
Yeah, that's what they came in.
Email, what's that?
I don't know,
Yeah, I did distribute it by email, so.
it has something to do with that computer that never works right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
If there was something for today for crying out loud, I haven't had a chance to. Somebody in their ad hoc committee.
So of those items were asked for by board members, so on.
so a board member that asked,
I asked.
You did, well, what about me?
Well, I guess you did too.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So number 11, discussion food uses permit from planning board. My understanding, again, if this is the accessory agricultural bylaw, that 60% of any food use had to be from the, and this is where I need help, Dave, is it the property or Massachusetts?
Well, first off, it's not, the percentage is not defined here.
Oh,
Percentages come out of 48 Section 3, which have a test of sales dollars per acre,
okay,
based upon the crop for the given year, or just sales dollars based upon the acreage and some other criteria. So what it says here is on-farm restaurants where a significant portion of products sold is prepared on-site with farm crops grown or raised on-site. So it's these significant portion items from Massachusetts within that are not originating on-site can be used as well.
okay.
And even materials from out of state can be used. The key portion is significant portion in compliance with 48 Section 3.
Okay. So my question is that being done? And is there a document showing that?
We don't have any particular information on this matter.
I
at
can
this
help you
time.
with that a little bit. First of all, with the APR, with my store, we've already regulated 75% by the state, and they check us regularly.
That bylaw doesn't have anything to do with
I know, but
APR.
what I'm saying, sir,
If I can I just want to make one point before we even get into any dialogue, and this is a precedent that I'd like to know moving forward, is that can, at any point, a board member bring up and get put onto the agenda without the person in which the discussion is about be notified? Mr. Schultz was never notified of this. The owner of Milkman Brewing Company was never notified of this. My wife is the principal owner. She was never notified that these 2 companies were on the agenda for tonight and that we were going to be getting into specific discussion. So when it comes to number 11 or 12, when it comes to me, any questions that have to come up, I think it's only fair that my wife is here. And I don't think that Mr. Schultz should answer any questions or talk at all about this without some precedent being set as to how this can come up at hours before a meeting.
Nope, it was put on there 48 hours before, you have to.
The email that I saw was like at 11 something this morning.
Well, no, items can be put on the agenda within 48 hours if they're not hearing items, and if they're not matters of.
So again, I'm just curious.
I'm just responding to a request made. I work the student chair, so.
I'll get back
there
to
is no requirement for notification, that I'm sure of. You know, if it's an agenda item, the agenda is a public document, and as long as it's been published.
Very interesting,
I'm
okay.
not saying that that's wonderful, you know, I'm not even saying it's right.
That was very wrong.
But
if you ask me,
legally, no, there is no necessity to notify. That's legally.
I think there should be precedent set within this planning board that we, as the town of Rutland, show the respect to the business owners in the town, and if we're gonna be talking about other people's businesses in public record, we should notify the business owners of that. I think that's just fair to any business owner. I don't think it's right that this happened. As a board member, I'm making that statement. Legally, I hear that a lot in this board. Legally, we don't have to do anything. Legally, you don't have to do this. I fully understand legally you don't. But in a small town, when you're talking about, you know, here we are in one breath asking for everybody to get involved in these things, and then in the other breath, other things are happening. That's my point. And that's all I'll say about that.
Anyone else?
Would that be true for any kind of, I mean, I understand if it's a major discussion, if it's an informational kind of thing for the board, was that?
That's what I'm asking too. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the point of this was. Was it to find out how much percentages of food, and then who documents that and who regulates that? Is it the Board of Health that's gonna regulate the percentages? And are we gonna do that with every single farm and every single egg and every single turkey that is sold at every farm in this town?
That would not be our,
Exactly. So
we're certainly not gonna be going out there counting the eggs and turkeys, so
are we
that's
counting
a-
hamburgers and cheeseburgers at,
that's a discussion for somebody else. We don't do that.
then why is it on the agenda tonight?
We have a bylaw. Bylaw's gotta be followed. If it's not followed, this isn't the wild, wild west where we can do whatever we want. There's a
Well-
bylaw in there, and it says, and it's referencing, our ag commission, or our ag
Okay.
accessory bylaw.
Well, then we gotta be real careful about this next year, because you can't have pancakes on the farm, you can't have Sap Castle, 600 people, you can't have any of these things without site plan reviews. Half these agricultural, they don't have site plan reviews, so how are you gonna legally do a lot of these events?
Well, in this particular instance, of Staff Castle would qualify as a by right allowable accessory.
Right, I'm sure,
In my
I'm
opinion.
throwing out a bunch of
I
the
think
stuff
the use
here.
that we're talking about here would qualify as a by right allowable accessory use. I'm not sure in this case this would require a site plan from the planning board, because it's not one of the uses in the second category of B. So I believe this use here would very likely qualify as an allowable accessory use, as long as we get information just to substantiate that. For a common victualer's permit from the select board, I don't think it needs anything from this board, I don't think. So I would just say for the first one that you're talking about, 11, I'm not sure that it becomes a planning board matter. In any circumstance, unless there's entertainment, weddings, receptions of private parties, concerts, festivals, special events, lodging, art galleries, are non-motorized recreational uses, then it becomes a planning board matter. But if it meets the ones in A, those are by right, those don't need a site plan.
So I get back to my problem, which I asked 12 million times, and I'm being facetious about this. Who regulates it? Who regulates that? I've been wanting to find out, is it the Ag Commission? I've been told they're the one that regulates it. Or is it, and it's obviously not the planning board, because we just said that. But who regulates that
Well, if it's a
bylaw?
food use, that's Board of Health. Common victuals license if there's seating from the select board.
Well, where's this documentation come in? I mean, how do you follow the regulations that were put in there if you don't have documentation? And who does that?
I'm getting very confused because I have to
Yeah,
confess that I don't even know what we're talking about, because I saw them on the agenda, but I did not read anything further on the internet. So
Basically,
perhaps-
on the agenda that we're talking about right now is in regards to Schultz's farm. And he has just recently gotten approval from the Board of Health, from the fire department, from the select board, Vicky Lloyd, done all the process to open up a food truck up there. So I think Mr. Narwhal's comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what's the percentages of 60% within
No,
the
we don't
agritourism
even-
bylaw?
Could I,
How much food is being served there?
this is what, with due respect to you,
Can I move up here?
Yeah.
I would like to hear Dick's
Oh, we can go to the second one, yeah, that's fine too.
for either one of them. I mean, I'd like to know
I'm
exactly.
confused, I'm very confused about both of them, so we can go to the, if we, through the chair, can go to, she wants to know what, in regards to the milk room, why we're on the agenda for tonight also, is what she's asking. If they're,
Anybody, both of them.
Well, there are a
Can I-
couple other farms that should be on the agenda too, as far as I can see.
Well, both of, do you understand, do you see what my point is?
I have no idea what your point is, I
My
couldn't hear
point-
him.
I'm square. My point is that these things got off the agenda today, you know, I mean, this is when most of us heard about this. And generally, when that happens, they're just a preliminary, you know, this is what's going on and it'll be on the agenda at our next meeting. They're not making any decisions about
Oh, yeah,
anything.
That was my intent, just to talk about it. I don't
My
know.
question is this: what interest does the town have in what I'm selling up at my farm store?
Well,
Why? We're being regulated by the state, number one,
mm-hmm.
okay? And what else am I gonna do up there?
Are you
I can't
I
do
mean,
anything else.
Could you,
Yeah.
know, we're on your
Okay.
side, basically, you know?
Okay, yeah.
The planning board has to follow a lot of rules and regulations, but we basically want to support food trucks and all that kind of stuff. We don't, the planning board doesn't want to put you out of business. We want to do it in, you know, we have to work within our regulations. Now, I don't know what you're doing up there, I haven't heard. And I don't even know what this is about yet. And I'm speaking to Kevin and to you, that I need to know what's going on here.
Well, I think the question is for the people
The
that brought up,
question is for the people,
that brought these up.
listen, could you calm down too?
I'm calm, I'm just trying to figure this out just like you are,
Okay, thank you.
you know?
Do you have any more information on this? I did not see anything on the internet, and
As far as the first one, the
and
apple,
which one is the first one?
the spotted cow,
Okay,
potential food uses. The applicant has not provided information. The applicant's in the process of providing information to the select board for a
mm-hmm,
common visuals modification. And that's, information is still outstanding, so that's in
Doesn't,
progress.
if that doesn't provide the planning board, then strike and let's move on.
It doesn't because, and once again, I think you just heard that the Board of Health has to regulate it with a permit, the fire department because there's flammables, and that the state regulations, so that is the enforcement.
So, but when it says, so why did we even put anything about local food in our bylaw if we have no use for
The
regulating
The
anything?
reason why any allowable uses were put in was to make it plain that there are certain allowable accessory uses that if they meet the requirements of 48.3 are allowed, just to acknowledge those.
Yeah,
And to not have any ambiguity as to what some of these things are. It's not a comprehensive list, but it goes from 1 to 21.
yeah,
It's to provide examples of what is. And then we get into section B, which are the accessory non-agricultural exempt uses subject to site plan as a separate category.
yeah.
We wanted to acknowledge and not just leave it to just what is allowable. Well, now we listed out corn maze, food pumpkin or you pick operations, walking and bicycle tours, we give examples. So now it's clear that these are the allowed ones by right, and these are different. So we're just trying to, in effect, publicize it, make it known as to what's allowed by right.
Then I guess my answer, Dave, is if the whole percentage and document, like Mr. Schultz said, is regulated by somebody else, then that's not a planning board's problem, fine.
That's correct.
Then fine,
So
I'm
Mr.
good with
Schultz
that.
will provide information to the select board regarding where the food's substantially coming from.
That's their problem, they
And
don't care
make a
about
statement
it.
that this
I have
complies with 48 section 3, and
I have one more question. How did this get onto our agenda?
I asked to have it on, because it was asked to me, what, with your bylaw, when they said your bylaw, the planning board's bylaw,
Right.
there's a point in there about certain percentage of food that's manufactured in Massachusetts, grown on the property.
Yeah.
So what are you doing about that, planning board? And I said, I'll bring it up and ask the questions. And that's why
But it
I
was-
brought it.
If I could, it was specifically about his farm.
No, it was about other farms have been asked to do that, and the question was posed to me, has that been done with the newest restaurant or the newest farm truck in town?
Okay, I want to.
Oh, you see, it's not a farm, it's not a food truck per se.
What is?
You understand what's going on up there?
No, I
No.
don't.
Well,
Explain
we
it to
have
me.
to put in a brand new kitchen.
Correct.
Okay, a brand new kitchen is approximately $50,000.
I'm gonna interrupt you, and I'm very sorry, but it's getting late here. What happened was, somebody approached Tim,
Yep.
and they asked him a question, what are you guys doing about that up there, about where they get their food, you know? Tim said, let's just put it on our agenda and
Talk
figure
about
out
it,
what
ask the
happened.
question, yeah.
What's our responsibility?
Mhm.
And it turns out that we're not responsible at all.
So there's my answer. That's a select board's problem. Next.
So no further,
So.
I could still use a ride home if you could hang out for a little bit.
One of the
We can get to
reasons-
number 12.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we didn't notify you, because we're just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going on. We don't care, because it's not our
It's
business.
not our, yeah,
anymore.
so it'll be select board's issue, not a problem.
But the food truck is in lieu of the kitchen.
Okay, it sounds like.
It's gonna be a lot easier to do, and it's
Mhm.
already done, and I can do it for about 25% of the money.
It's
And that's
great.
why.
I'm glad,
I am too, believe me.
yeah.
Save me a lot
Just
of
make
money.
sure they get the
Okay.
food from the truck and a waitress doesn't bring it, because that's a whole different issue with the state of Massachusetts.
Explain that to me again?
If a waitress serves food from that food truck to an individual sitting down, that's considered a restaurant, it's not considered a food truck.
Well, I have a restaurant.
I don't,
What's
this
that
is
mean?
beyond my skill set.
Outside, inside,
Yeah, yeah.
400 feet away, and you know.
Yeah, I don't wanna get it, I'm not worried
Never
about
mind.
it.
Forget
Yeah,
what you
forget
said.
it or whatever I said. I'm
Forget
not-
it.
There you go. Good.
Yeah,
Okay,
now,
I'm good.
feeling good, thanks.
I'm good.
12.
Thank you, board.
12 I brought up because I saw the disc golf thing on November 13th, and I'm like, hold it, that's number 5, Dave, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so now we're into things that can be regulated by the
Yeah.
planning board by site plan review. One of the categories, there's 5 total categories. The last category, non-motorized active recreational uses, including but not limited to disc golf, zip lines, and archery.
And all I was hoping is that, that came out of this discussion is that the milk room would just apply for number 5 for site plan review, because I think we just granted 1 and 2, we never granted 3, 4, and 5 in this last round.
We can do that, but it's gonna open up a whole nother, because it wasn't a disc golf course, and maybe that should have been a bylaw adjustment, because we have one basket and there was people 20 feet away, no different than playing cornhole, or if we're gonna have people bring out a hacky sack, or they bring a frisbee to the milk room, or, it's not a disc golf course. So we didn't have a 9-hole disc golf course where we're charging. The disc golf course is an entity that we're working towards and would be a completely different site plan review. But and again, this is how I'm looking at this, and I can be on or off as a board member, as the partial owner. The event that we had was we didn't charge anybody for the event, it was free to the public, and it was evolved around one basket where people learned how to throw a disc 15, 20 feet away from. So
Okay,
it was a
I'm-
little
Okay.
clinic,
Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to you, too.
right?
The reason that you weren't really notified as an owner of the place, because it's not really such a big deal. Tim his basic concern was that he didn't want you to get into trouble because you didn't have it on your
But if I wasn't
thing.
on the board and he wasn't here, where would this conversation have
This
gone tonight?
conversation would probably stop.
I think the conversation would have gone to another meeting, so I don't know that there would have, again, I'm
If it
just
did go to
guessing.
another meeting, you would be notified. It's not that you're trying to be you as a non-board member.
No, that's not what it was concerning to me as the way that this all of a sudden came up, and then what's gonna happen next week, or the week after, or the week after that, or the week,
Well,
because of
Bill-
these now site plan reviews, the way that this is all going, there were a lot of things that we need to be specific about at this point, because I feel, as the business owner, I've done everything that has been asked of me,
Okay.
above and beyond,
So
and I'm worried that next week something else is gonna come up, and the week
So,
after that, something else is gonna
let's
come
go
up.
back to what I said. I said that this was just a discussion about, do we need to look at this to protect you? what we were, what
You can make that statement, but he was the one that called, so I mean, you're
I
talking
know,
now for
because
him.
I'm saying,
No, no,
I had heard, I talked to
I'll speak because
Tim.
Marilyn's exactly
You
saying what
know?
I was gonna say.
And I
That's-
talked to you, I mean,
Yeah.
I was there when you brought the subject up.
Yep. And I
And
talked
you-
to Dave and I was like, all I wanna do is if it's an issue, we can talk about it. And if we need to suggest to the milk room, I won't say Kevin, the milk room, that we need to get a site plan review done for that, let's just get it done.
Right,
It's not something, but if it's not that, but I want to bring it up to the board. Do we need to do it? If we don't, then let's move on. But if we do, it's anything to make sure that we as a board suggest to the milk room that go get number 5 site plan review. That way you're protected and there's no other issues and nobody can complain about it.
and at that particular time, we could look at that and say, okay, is this?
Does it make sense to do
does
it?
No, but also does it reflect what you're really planning, you know, what you're planning to do there? Is it general enough? I mean, we're not.
I guess it's all good, I still don't think the policy's right. I don't see why, if I had, personally, if somebody came to me, if one of my friends came to me as a planning board member and says, I have an issue with this business, I think it's fair that that business is notified. That's just my opinion.
Okay, that's your opinion.
My personal opinion. I understand maybe it's not the law, maybe it's not the state of Massachusetts.
But I
But when it
also-
comes to the town of Rutland, I think that it's only fair that discussions, I'm not saying it's policy, I'm just saying we're not Waltham, we're not the city of Boston. We're still the town of Rutland with 10 farms and 3 restaurants. And this and that, like,
I just
so
heard this conversation about a half an hour ago.
that's just how I feel as a member of the planning board and as a business owner.
do you-
There's a lot of stuff that is,
Okay, Kevin,
in my opinion.
do you are you happy? Do you think we should have notified you that we were gonna talk about this?
I do. I do.
Okay,
I'd like to be part of the conversation. I'd like to help Rutland if I can, any way I can. But in the same token, I expect the same respect back from the town.
right. My point is that this was just a very small issue. We weren't gonna do any action tonight. The issue was only, do we need to go ahead and make this a big deal?
I'm 74, you know, I've been around a long time, and usually when it starts small, it
I
gets
know,
big.
but then,
And that's why I like to be right down on the ground floor. I
Well,
like to
you
know
know
what's going
something?
on. I'm fine.
I'm 79 and I don't
Well, there you
agree.
go, you got me.
Okay, I'm 76.
Right,
Well, you
And
got
if you
me.
guys, and you know,
All right,
and
I'm
again,
78.
I say this with all due respect, if you owned a business in town and everybody was talking about your business, board members, full boards are talking about your business day to day, in and out, you would like to know about it.
but I probably would be very grateful that I didn't get called into a meeting, which was,
My
About
business is
nothing.
very, very important to me, and if something comes up, I'm just saying, for the record, I believe as a board member that moving forward, if at all possible, this comes up in discussion, I don't think it's fair to talk about other people's businesses without the owners knowing that it's being brought up. It's very easy to make things public. The phone number is there, my email is there, my wife's email is there, you have all her information on the files, in the AVC permits, and all the stuff. I don't see any reason why the owners of the businesses shouldn't be notified if they're put on an agenda.
But on the
for
flip side,
anything.
knowing that, and again, I'm talking to you as a business owner, advertising a disc golf for the business, knowing that we've got a bylaw that has, and I get it, you didn't charge for it, you didn't do any of that stuff, but it was advertising for it, and there's a site plan review for, call them events or non-motorized events. That to me is just skirting what that site plan's for, and that's the reason why I was like, you know, let's have the discussion, and if the board and David thinks that we should advise the milk room they should do a site plan review, great, and if not, and to your point, it was just one little basket that was being no charge, anything like that, then move on, drop it. But that was
But
my,
you wouldn't have known that tonight. That's my point. You wouldn't have known that it was one basket.
correct.
How would you have known that?
well, we would.
How would you have known, you know, that's my whole point, is
No,
that
we
this
would have known
discussion
that-
would have gone
You would have
different
known about
if the
state
two of us weren't
regulating
here
and stuff.
tonight.
Actually,
and
if
I
you look
wasn't
at
on
my
the board,
common vic-
the discussion
my
would have
common
gone
vic
very
map is all
differently.
listed.
But it's
Because you guys
not
wouldn't
our
have had any of the
business. It
information.
doesn't
You
belong
don't
to
know
the
where the
planning
discussion
board.
could have gone, and it could have become a
And we
big
would
deal when it
just
didn't
not
need to.
even
Well,
bother with
I don't
it,
even
not
know if it
even
is,
bother,
if
you know,
it's
that's why
still a
we were
question or
talking
not,
about
because
it.
Could
I haven't
be, that's
got,
fine.
I haven't gotten an
Continue to
opinion
go down
of
the
the
path.
rest
I
of the
mean,
board.
If we're doing cow
Regulations
plot
like that
contests, if we're
doesn't say
doing
we have to
pancakes
bother
at the
with
farm, if we're
bother.
doing farm days at the local, I mean, all these types of things that need, I'm all for doing a whole nother site plan review, but I was under the impression that as I wrote out my site plan review with the special events and the additional things, that included a cornhole tournament, or a cow plow
You know what?
contest, or, you know, the bonfire that we had last year with the fire department's permit on the
Okay.
Girl Scouts wasn't on the site plan review, and if it has to be, that's fine, but that's my fear.
But the board will, the board, I'm,
Well, I would sit like this all the time, what am I supposed to do? My,
okay.
this is my business, and I have all these events that go on during the year, and I thought, I was under
The
the
other-
impression I covered it in
Well,
this.
that's what we wanted to know. Did we get him
Maybe
covered?
we-
That's what our discussion
That's
was.
what, that's all I wanted to do, was, it was more of a protection, if you need to do, if
But
you
how would
need.
you have known that without contacting the people that are on the site plan review?
No, because we look and say, all we wanted to do was say, what do you call it, golf, Frisbee golf, do we, does that require a special notice in the site plan review?
If there was a course, yes.
Well, maybe, but we would discuss that. That was all we were
I
gonna do.
understand that, but nobody would be here to answer the questions. We're just going round and round here, and my whole point is that
My point is that if we had decided that this was something that we needed to address, it would have been addressed at a meeting where you were present.
Yeah, that's what.
And
And we-
that's a major point right there.
Right.
Information does come to the planning board in various forms, and I do believe the planning board needs to have the freedom to have a preliminary discussion about something, not take any action,
Yeah, that's
but
what.
have a preliminary discussion regardless of who has been notified.
that's how you guys, it would have been a different discussion today. If I was not sitting here and he was not sitting here, this would have been a very different discussion.
Yeah, what would it be?
There would have been no, I will tell you right, there would be.
Don't know, we'll never know.
There would not have been any action taken.
You can't take action without knowing, and I
Oh,
get
we're not
that.
going to, we didn't.
I
We
understand
didn't take any
that.
action until you
I fully
started.
understand.
Can we say that we will take your opinion under advisement?
I
and
think we
can-
should, because
that
I
we
think,
can
and I'm
talk
gonna be
about
on this
this
board
later?
for a long time. I think it's fair to the business owners.
Well, I'm saying I'm saying that we're not gonna deal with this tonight, with whether or not our
Well,
rules
that you can, I mean, this has to be a
Huh?
whole nother agenda item if all of a sudden we're gonna get into notifying the business owners of, if we're gonna be talking about
I
it.
gotta tell you right now, if
What
it's
about
not,
non-business owners?
Right,
As far as a common driveway,
Yeah, as far as some kind of a
yeah, why just
violation.
business owners?
yeah, see, that's a precedent I'm worried about setting.
so
Why
if
just
the,
business
so if the
owners?
zoning officer has to go talk to somebody, they're not gonna, I mean, at some point, they're gonna be notified, right?
Mhm.
But if
I
they're-
But not
But not-
necessarily at the first mention at a planning board meeting.
haven't been involved in one of those situations, so I wouldn't know how to answer that question.
Glenwood Place was probably the first example where a discussion
Yeah.
came up, and we talked about it, but not until the zoning enforcement officer made a cease and desist, and then it became a complaint, and then we had to get into it.
Yeah.
But we talked about it before that happened.
Mhm.
Should we have?
But we did not take any action.
No action, just discussed it.
Was it on the
It-
agenda? And it was on the
It
agenda.
starts out as fact-finding.
Yeah.
That's what it starts out as.
And I fully understand that, but
And that's as far as it
doesn't
goes.
matter, I'm not gonna just keep repeating the same thing. If the two of us weren't here tonight would have been a very different discussion in both regards, and it would have been extended to the next meeting.
No, it wouldn't. Not with
Oh.
Mr.
Maybe not with, well, how would you know?
It's
No,
very-
because
it's very-
Dave basically did the explanation on 11. At that point, I don't have any issue. I just brought it up for
It is-
discussion.
It is possible it would have gone to the next meeting. But then, you would have been absolutely notified.
We could have said, yeah, we need a little more information
That's
about
right.
exactly what this is, but in your case, it's not our business, so.
So,
And if you were just not on the board, and this was your business that we came up, we would have said, do we need to do something about this, yes or no? And we said, basically, I think we said no, you were so busy being upset that we're not,
I
we
was so busy
said,
being upset about what? You said no when? Can you just
We
repeat
said-
that?
basically, we did, I think, what are we gonna do about that? Do we need to take an action on
What?
of whether or not we need to, look into the call?
No,
Okay, okay,
I
we're
don't,
all
I don't
set.
believe so.
I,
As far as I'm concerned, it's dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a dead issue.
but I see Kevin's point without knowing that it wasn't, that it was just one.
One person's question.
Yeah, my concern was protecting your business, because when I saw the advertisement, I was like, oh Christ, we just got done granting permission for 1 and 2 for events and things like that, but 3, 4, and 5, we didn't grant you. And if somebody went and looked into that, and they said, well, there's disc golf going on at the milk room, why does he get to do that without a permit? And I was like, oh crap, we gotta bring this up and talk about it, because I don't want this blowing up in town saying that you're getting special dispensation. So let's talk about it with the board, and if it's a moot point, it's a moot point. But I just wanna keep all the i's dotted and t's crossed for these bylaws, and make sure the board.
I hope that's true, because I'm the only one that has a site plan review in the town of Rutland, as an
No.
FYI. The only person that has ever been approved, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of these things in this town without permission. So that's why I'm upset about this, because I'm the
Ask
only
Dave,
one that
is
did
that
it.
true?
Who else?
We
is
can,
doing
we,
what?
no, you know what, we can adjourn, I'm done, I'm not going down this path, but that's where, I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's
I
really
take great offense.
I have no further.
Kevin,
Well,
I take great offense at what you just said without backing up. It's a totally unsubstantiated statement.
it's not,
And that's
it's
wrong.
not unsubstantiated, I've been pretty vocal about it for a little while now.
Give us some details.
I'd rather not. My business is at risk.
Yeah. Sorry about that. No.
At risk from this board?
No. The more public I get, the more I talk, the more I get hurt. The more I get people asking these it's,
You get a little bit offended after a while, you know, when you get,
When
when
you
the,
do
when the
everything
bear
right.
when the bear gets poked so many times. And believe me, I understand what Kevin's going through. I'm going through the same thing up on that hill right now. I have been poked more times in the last 3 months. And it all stems from right down here in the town hall. And I am really tired of it. So when you see something that you're not invited to, and you're talking about my business, right away, you just get really upset. And you come down with that attitude. And I'm not gonna go into any details about what's going on, but believe me when I tell you, I am really tired of it, really tired. I don't think there's a week that's gone by in the past 3 months that I haven't got a call from a town official that I'm doing something wrong. I said, where is this information coming from? I don't get it. And then I go down to another local store, and they're doing exactly what I'm doing, and they're not getting punished. I am. I keep my mouth shut because I don't want to get that guy in trouble. And it goes on and on and on, and it's not stopping. And that's why we get offended. And I don't know what to do to stop it.
It's not coming from here.
Well, I didn't say it was coming from here. I said
Yeah.
down in the
And
town hall.
we can't do a damn thing about
I
that.
understand. I'm just explaining why sometimes we get a little upset
And
and
that's-
abusive.
that's-
And
That's
I'll
what
say
I
to
did.
both you, my philosophy, since I work with these two and got elected 12 years ago, or 15, whatever it was, is all I want anybody to do is follow the rules and of what we have as bylaws. That's all I ask. I don't want anything more or anything less.
Well,
And it hasn't happened in Rutland. I'm gonna tell you right now, Dick, there's been a lot of stuff in this town that hasn't happened, and I am an advocate for making it happen. And the good old boys philosophy and all that stuff in this town, as far as I'm concerned, I ran against that. I don't want anything to do with it. If we've got a bylaw, that's what needs to be followed.
And I agree. But what's good for me is good for everybody else.
I agree with you.
And that's not happening. And that I can absolutely prove.
That's the complaint process that we've
I
already
know,
gone
but I'm not
through.
gonna do that, because you
Okay,
know why?
right, that-
The other business people in this town are my friends. And I'm not gonna put them in the same pond that I'm in. I'm not gonna do it. I've got a little integrity. So that's why I leave it. And that's why you get a little upset. That's why. I just
agree
want
with
you to
you.
know that. No,
Okay.
no, I have no hard feelings, no nothing. You need to understand that.
I just wanted to make sure that you understood what we were doing.
I do. I get it. I get it.
And part of its protection, in my opinion, part of its protection just makes sure the bylaws are being followed, and there's no impropriety of the planning board of, we're giving, we're overlooking that.
I'm trying
That's-
to be fair to
Yeah, that's what I get at, Mel. I'm just trying to be fair. So,
And I appreciate that. I do. I do. So just so you understand where we're coming from.
second,
There's no, yeah.
I attend.
So therefore, what I had mentioned at the last meeting at the end, that I was gonna bring you guys forward things that we were supposed to have done in 2017 and haven't done.
You mean for a business meeting? Yeah.
And that's what I was gonna have a brief discussion with, and it was the last thing I think I said, but I just looked at the minutes, and it wasn't there. Because probably said it as, after we had adjourned or whatever, but,
Yeah, because I wasn't in person.
If I
at the
offended
very
anybody, I
end,
didn't
so
mean
I
to.
didn't-
No,
I'm totally just.
I'm a thick German. You can't offend me.
I'm a thicker German than you ever thought of being, dude.
Oh, I don't know.
Not even close.
I don't know, he's.
I'm from Indiana, so I'm
pretty thick.
Did you-
I'm a thicker
did you
Swede.
guys make a
Oh,
motion?
that's even worse.
That is.
somebody
Yeah,
made a
hold on a
motion, I know
second.
who
Hold on.
seconded
No
it.
one made the motion?
I'm in New Hampshire.
No, I
Yankees,
asked for
Oh,
it.
there you go.
Motion to
We're in
adjourn.
New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Discussion?
vote
I
In
used to do
favor?
so much business
Aye.
up here
Aye.
in Cal,
Yeah.
all the way
Aye.
up to Vermont and
Oh.
New Hampshire.
Please,
It's just
I'm not
what's-
trying-